The Prince of Parthia. A Tragedy. Thomas Godfrey, Jr. 1736–1763. Thomas Godfrey, Jr., was born in Philadelphia, on December 4, 1736, the son of a man who himself won fame as an inventor of the quadrant. Godfrey, Sr., was a friend of Benjamin Franklin, the two probably having been drawn together by their common interest in science. When Godfrey, Sr., died, December 1749, it was Franklin who wrote his obituary notice. 1. Young Godfrey was a student at the College or Academy of Philadelphia, and when his education was completed, he became apprentice to a watchmaker, remaining in the profession until 1758. As a student at the Academy, he came under the special influence of Dr. William Smith, the first principal or provost of that institution, too, and it was Dr. Smith who not only obtained for Godfrey a lieutenancy with the Pennsylvania troops in 1758, which sent him in the expedition against Fort Duquesne, but who, likewise, as the editor of the American magazine, was only too glad to accept and publish some of Godfrey's poetical effusions. That the young man was popular, and that he associated with some of the most promising figures of the time, will be seen from the fact that, although he was only 27 when he died, he was counted among the friends of Benjamin West and John Green, both portrait painters, of Francis Hopkinson, who was a student at the College of Philadelphia, and of Nathaniel Evans, a young minister whose loyalty found outlet after Godfrey's death in the memorial edition of Godfrey's works. Evans himself wrote poems and dialogues. In his confirmation of the fact that, as a poet, Godfrey was regarded favorably by the Philadelphians of the time, he quotes from the diary of one Miss Sarah Eve, who referred to him as our poet. Godfrey's reputation, as a young man with musical talents and a decided taste for painting, has come down to us. Certain it is that, during all of this time of varied occupation as a watchmaker and a soldier, he must have been courting the poetic muse. There are some who speculate, without authority, on his having been a theatre-goer, and having become inspired as a playwright by the work of the American Company, in Philadelphia. Especially by the good work of Douglas. Because of insufficient evidence, that is a question which remains unproven. Nevertheless, it is certain, from an extant letter written by Godfrey on November 17, 1759, and quoted by Seilhamer, that he must have had his attention turned to playwriting as a special art. He says to his correspondent, writing from North Carolina, "By the last vessel from this place, I sent you the copy of a tragedy I finished here, and desired your interest in bringing it on the stage. I have not yet heard of the vessel's safe arrival, and believe if she is safe it will be too late for the company now in Philadelphia." Meaning, of course, Douglas's company. There are two facts to be noted in this communication. First, that it was written from North Carolina, where, in 1759, Godfrey had gone on some plantation business, probably as factor. And second, that it must have been penned with the idea of immediate production by the actors in Philadelphia. According to Seilhamer, Godfrey remained in North Carolina for 3 years. He did not write the entire manuscript of The Prince of Parthia while living in the South but, as he definitely states in his letter, finished it soon after his arrival. There is no evidence as to why Godfrey sailed to the island of New Providence in the last year of his life, and then returned to Wilmington, N.C. There is no definite statement as to whether he contracted fever and had a sunstroke on that expedition, or after his return home. But, nevertheless, he did contract the fever and have a sunstroke, with the result that he succumbed to his illness, and died near Wilmington, North Carolina, on August 3, 1763. 3. After his death, Godfrey's friends decided among themselves that the young man was too much of a genius for them to allow his productions to remain scattered and unrecognized. Evidently, correspondence regarding this must have taken place between Dr. Smith, Nathaniel Evans, the young minister, and John Green, the portrait painter. 4. In 1765, a book was published, entitled Juvenile Poems on Various Subjects, with the Prince of Parthia, printed in Philadelphia by one Henry Miller. 4. The volume contained a life written by Evans, a critical estimate written by Dr. Smith, of the College of Philadelphia, and an elegy from the pen of John Green, who had been previously complimented by Godfrey in a poem entitled A Night Piece. The whole spirit of the publication was one of friendly devotion and of firm belief in the permanency of Godfrey's position in the literary world. As was the custom of the time, the edition was issued under the patronage of subscribers, a list being included. We know, for example, that Benjamin Franklin subscribed for 12 copies, his own private, autographed copy having been put on sale a few years ago. As yet, no concerted effort had been made for the production of Godfrey's The Prince of Parthia. We do not know if, during this time, the American company had any claim on the manuscript, or whether, after Godfrey's death, it was again submitted to the theatrical people. But this much we do know, that, very hastily, the American company, headed by David Douglas, who was playing at the Southwark Theatre in Philadelphia, decided that they would put on The Prince of Parthia in place of The Disappointment, or The Force of Credulity, a comic opera which will be noted in my introduction to John Leacock's The Fall of British Tyranny. This musical piece had actually been put into rehearsal in 1767, when it was withdrawn. Immediately, the Pennsylvania Journal and Weekly Advertiser for April 23, 1767, contained an advertisement of the forthcoming production. It ran as follows: by authority. / never performed before. / by the American Company. / at the New Theatre, in Southwark. / on Friday, the 24th of April, will be presented, a tragedy written by the late ingenious M.R. Thomas Godfrey, of the city, called The Prince of Parthia. / the principal characters by M.R. Hallam, / Mr. Douglas, Mr. Wall, Mr. Morris, / Mr. Allen, M.R. Tomlinson, Mr. Broadbelt, Mr. Greville, Mrs. Douglas, / M.R.S. Morris, Miss Wainwright, and Miss Cheer. / to which will be added, a ballad opera called The Contrivances. / to begin exactly at 7 o'clock. Vivant Rex and Regina. / In the Pennsylvania Gazette, for the same date, appears an advertisement, without the cast of characters. The production occurred on April 24, 1767. Seilhamer gives a probable cast of characters, although only the list of actors is given in the advertisement. Apart from this, little is known of the production, whether or not it pleased the theatre-goers of the time. We can judge, however, from the reading of the play itself, that there was little of extreme dramatic excellence in the situations, the chief claim, from the actor's point of view, being the opportunity to deliver certain very highly colored, poetical lines modelled after the manner of the Elizabethan drama. In the publication of The Prince of Parthia, we have the first printed American tragedy in existence, and in its production we have one of only 2 plays, written by Americans, and presented on a stage before the Revolution. The other play is George Cockings's The Conquest of Canada, or The Siege of Quebec, printed for the author in 1766, and presented in Philadelphia in 1773. We note, in Dr. F. W. Atkinson's estimable bibliography of American plays in his possession, that Cockings later described himself as Camillo Cornell, Poet Laureate to Congress. The interest in the early history of the American drama, which has become evident within recent years, and nowhere more evident than among the student body in our American colleges, induced the Zelosophic Literary Society, encouraged by the University of Pennsylvania, to revive The Prince of Parthia, which was written by one of their alumni. The production was consummated on March 26, 1915. Even though we have no statement as to the actual manner in which the Douglas Company presented the play originally, we are given every evidence, by those who witnessed the revival, that the play, while containing many excellences, was not of a dramatic character according to modern ideas of stage effectiveness. The only portrait of Godfrey known to have been in existence was that painted by Benjamin West, in his earlier years. It is interesting to note that in commemoration of the 150th anniversary of the original production of this play, Dr. Archibald Henderson, of the University of North Carolina, issued an edition deluxe of The Prince of Parthia, with an extended introduction, historical, biographical and critical. Boston, Little, Brown and Colorado, 1917. Footnotes 1. A notice appeared in the Pennsylvania Gazette, December 19, 1749. See Scharf and Westcott's History of Philadelphia for references to Godfrey. Sr. Therein is given a picture of his house in Germantown, Pennsylvania. Barlow mentions him in his Columbiad. A monument to his memory was erected in Laurel Hill Cemetery, Philadelphia, 1843. Note that David Rittenhouse, an American dramatist who translated, from the German, Lucy Sampson, or The Unhappy Heiress 1789, was likewise a mathematical genius. 2. Accounts of Dr. Smith are to be found in Henry Simpson's Eminent Philadelphians. Scharf and Westcott's History of Philadelphia, E. 1126. Dr. Smith's Life and Correspondence, by Horace Wemyss Smith, was issued in 2 vols, 1879. 3. Visitors to Wilmington, N.C., will be taken to Old St. James's Churchyard, where Godfrey lies buried. 4. Juvenile poems on various subjects. / with the Prince of Parthia, / a tragedy, / by the late Mr. Thomas Godfrey, Jr. / of Philadelphia. / to which is prefixed, / some account of the author and his writings. / poeta nascitur non fit hor. / Philadelphia, / printed by Henry Miller, in 2nd Street. / MDCCLXV. Illustration, juvenile poems on various subjects. With the Prince of Parthia, a tragedy. FAC simile of original title page to first edition. Advertisement. Our author has made use of the licentia poetica in the management of this dramatic piece, and deviates, in a particular or two, from what is agreed on by historians, the Queen Thermusa being not the wife of King Artabanus, but according to Tacitus, Strabo and Josephus of Phrates, Artabanus being the 4th king of Parthia after him. Such lapses are not unprecedented among the poets, and will the more readily admit of an excuse, when the voice of history is followed in the description of characters. Dramatis Personae. Men. Artabanus, king of Parthia. Arsaces, Vardanes, his sons. Gutterses. Barzapharnes, lieutenant generalis, under Arsac. Lysias, officers at court. Phrates. Bethis, a noble captive women. Thermusa, the queen. Evanth, beloved by Arsaces. Cleon, her confidant. Edessa, attendant on the queen. Guards and attendants. Scene, Ctesiphon. The Prince of Parthia. A tragedy. Act I. Scene I. The Temple of the Sun. Gutterses and Phrates. Gutterses. He comes, Arsaces comes, my gallant brother, like shining Mars in all the pomp of conquest triumphant, enters now our joyful gates. Bright victory waits on his glittering car, and shows her favourite to the wondering crowd. While fame exulting sounds the happy name to realms remote, and bids the world admire. Oh! 'Tis a glorious day, let none presume to indulge the tear, or wear the gloom of sorrow. This day shall shine in ages yet to come, and grace the Parthian story. Phrates. Glad Ctesiphon pours forth her numbers, like a rolling deluge, to meet the blooming hero. All the ways, on either side, as far as sight can stretch, are lined with crowds, and on the lofty walls innumerable multitudes are ranged. On every countenance impatient sate with roving eye, before the train appeared. But when they saw the darling of the fates, they rent the air with loud repeated shouts. The mother showed him to her infant son, and taught his lisping tongue to name Arsaces, e'en aged sires, whose sounds are scarcely heard, by feeble strength supported, tossed their caps, and gave their murmur to the general voice. Gutterses. The spacious streets, which lead up to the temple, are strewed with flowers. Each, with frantic joy, his garland forms, and throws it in the way. What pleasure, Phrates, must swell his bosom, to see the prostrate nation all around him, and know he's made them happy. To hear them tease the gods, to shower their blessings on him. Happy Arsaces! Fain I'd imitate thy matchless worth, and be a shining joy. Phrates. Hark! What a shout was that which pierced the skies! It seemed as though all nature's beings joined, to hail thy glorious brother. Gutterses. Happy Parthia! Now proud Arabia dreads her destined change, while shame and row disperses all her sons. Barzapharnes pursues the fugitives, the few whom favouring night redeemed from slaughter. Swiftly they fled, for fear had winged their speed, and made them bless the shade which Safety gave. Frights. What a bright hope is ours, when those dread powers who rule yon heaven, and guide the movements here, shall call your royal father to their joys. In blessed Arsaces every virtue meets. He's generous, brave, and wise, and good, has skill to act, and noble fortitude to face bold danger, in the battle firm, and dauntless as a lion fronts his foe. Yet is he swayed by every tender passion, forgiving mercy, gentleness and love, which speak the hero friend of humankind. Godfrey. And let me speak, for 'tis to him I owe that here I stand, and breathe the common air, and 'tis my pride to tell it to the world. One luckless day as in the eager chase my courser wildly bore me from the rest, a monstrous leopard from a bosky fen rushed forth, and foaming lashed the ground, and fiercely ate me as his destined quarry. My javelin swift I threw, but o'er his head it erring passed, and harmless in the air spent all its force. My falcon then I seized, advancing to attack my ireful foe, when furiously the savage sprung upon me, and tore me to the ground. My treacherous blade above my hand snapped short, and left me quite defenceless to his rage. Arsaces then, hearing the din, flew like some pitying power, and quickly freed me from the monster's paws, drenching his bright lance in his spotted breast. Frights. How different he from arrogant Vardanes! That hardy prince eyes with a stern contempt all other mortals, and with lofty mien he treads the earth as though he were a god. Nay, I believe that his ambitious soul, had it but power to its licentious wishes, would dare dispute with Jove the rule of heaven. Like a Titanian sun with giant insolence, match with the gods, and wage a mortal war, till their red wrath should hurl him headlong down, e'en to destruction's lowest pit of horror. Godfrey. Methinks he wears not that becoming joy which on this bright occasion gilds the court. His brows contracted with a gloomy frown, pensive he stalks along, and seems a prey to pining discontent. Frights. Arsaces he dislikes, for standing twixt him, and the hope of empire. While envy, like a ravenous vulture, tears his cankered heart, to see your brother's triumph. Godfrey. And yet Vardanes owes that hated brother as much as I. 'Twas summer last, as we were bathing in Euphrates' flood, Vardanes proud of strength would seek the further shore. But ere he the midstream gained, a poignant pain shot through his well-strung nerves, contracting all, and the stiff joints refused their wonted aid. Loudly he cried for help, Arsaces heard, and through the swelling waves he rushed to save his drowning brother, and gave him life, and for the boon the ingrate pays him hate. Frights. There's something in the wind, for I've observed of late he much frequents the queen's apartment, and fain would court her favour. Wild is she to gain revenge for Philvonish death, and firm resolves the ruin of Arsaces. Because that filled with filial piety, to save his royal sire, he struck the bold presumptuous traitor dead. Nor heed she the hand which gave her liberty, nay rate her again to royalty. Godfrey. Ingratitude, thou hell-born fiend, how horrid is thy form! The gods sure let thee loose to scourge mankind, and save them from an endless waste of thunder. Frights. Yet I beheld this now so hardy queen, bent with distress, and e'en by pride forsook, when following thy sire's triumphant car, her tears and ravings moved the senseless herd, and pity blessed their more than savage breasts, with the short pleasure of a moment's softness. Thy father, conquered by her charms for what can charm like morning beauty, soon struck off her chains, and rayed her to his bed and throne. Adorned the brows of her aspiring son, the fierce Vonones, with the regal crown of rich Armenia, once the happy rule of Tissaphernes, her deceased lord. Godfrey. And he in wasteful war returned his thanks, refused the homage he had sworn to pay, and spread destruction everywhere around, till from Arsaces' hand he met the fate his crimes deserved. Frights. As yet your princely brother has scaped Thermusa's rage, for still residing in peaceful times, within his province, ne'er has fortune blessed her with the sight of him, on whom she'd wreak her vengeance. Godfrey. She has won by spells, I think, so much on my fond father, that he is guided by her will alone. She rules the realm, her pleasure is a law, all offices and favours are bestowed, as she directs. Frates. But see, the prince, Vardanes, proud Lysias with him, he whose soul is harsh with jarring discord. Naught but madding rage, and ruffian-like revenge his breast can know, indeed to gain a point he'll condescend to mask the native rancour of his heart, and smooth his venomous tongue with flattery. Assiduous now he courts Vardanish friendship, see, how he seems to answer all his gloom, and give him frown for frown. Gutterses. Let us retire, and shun them now. I know not what it means, but chilling horror shivers o'er my limbs, when Lysias I behold. Scene to Vardanes and Lysias. Lysias. That shout proclaims shout. Our secession near approach. Vardanes. Peace, prithee, peace, wilt thou still shock me with that hated sound, and great harsh discord in my offended ear? If thou art fond of echoing the name, join with the servile crowd, and hail his triumph. Lysias. I hail him? By our glorious shining God, I'd sooner lose my speech, and all my days in silence rest, conversing with my thoughts, than hail Arsaces. Vardanes. Yet, again his name, sure there is magic in it, Parthia's drunk and giddy with the joy. The houses' tops with gaping spectators are thronged, nay while they climb such precipices that the eye is dazzled with their daring. Every wretch who long has been immered, nor dared enjoy the common benefits of sun and air, creeps from his lurking place. E'en feeble age, long to the sickly couch confined, stokes forth, and with infectious breath assails the gods. Oh, curse the name, the idol of their joy. Lysias. And what's that name, that thus they should disturb the ambient air, and weary gracious heaven with ceaseless bellowings? Vardanes sounds with equal harmony, and suits as well the loud repeated shouts of noisy joy. Can he bid chaos nature's rule dissolve, can he deprive mankind of light and day, and turn the seasons from their destined course? Say, can he do all this, and be a god? If not, what is his matchless merit? What dares he, Vardanes dares not? Blush not, noble prince, for praise is merit's due, and I will give it. E'en mid the crowd which waits thy brother's smile, I'd loud proclaim the merit of Vardanes. Vardanes. Forbear this warmth, your friendship urges far. Yet know your love shall e'er retain a place in my remembrance. There is something here. Pointing to his breast. Another time and I will give thee all. But now, no more. Lysias. You may command my services, I'm happy to obey. Of late your brother delights in hindering my advancement, and every boaster's rate above my merit, Barzapharnes alone commands his ear, his oracle in all. Vardanes. I hate Arsaces, though he's my mother's son, and churchmen say there's something sacred in the name of brother. My soul endures him not, and he's the bane of all my hopes of greatness. Like the sun he rules the day, and like the night's pale queen, my fainter beams are lost when he appears. And this because he came into the world, a moon or two before me. What's the difference, that he alone should shine in empire's seat? I am not apt to trumpet forth my praise, or highly name myself, but this I'll speak, to him in aught, I'm not the least inferior. Ambition, glorious fever, mark of kings, gave me immortal thirst and rule of empire. Why lagged my tardy soul, why drooped the wing, nor forward springing, shot before his speed to seize the prize? 'Twas empire, oh! 'Twas empire. Lysias. Yet, I must think that of superior mould your soul was formed, fit for a heavenly state, and left reluctant its sublime abode, and painfully obeyed the dread command, when Jove's controlling fate forked it below. His soul was earthly, and it downward moved, swift as to the centre of attraction. Vardanes. It might be so, but I've another cause to hate this brother, every way my rival. In love as well as glory he's above me. I dote on fair Evanthe, but the charmer disdains my ardent suit. Like a miser he treasures up her beauties to himself, thus is he formed to give me torture ever. But hark, they've reached the temple. Didst thou observe the crowd, their eagerness? Each put the next aside to catch a look, himself was albeit out. Curse their zeal. Lysias. Stupid folly. Vardanes. I'll tell thee, Lysias, this many-headed monster multitude, unsteady as giddy fortune's wheel, as woman fickle, varying as the wind. Today they this way course, the next they veer, and shift another point, the next another. Lysias. Curiosity's another name for man, the blazing meteor streaming through the air commands our wonder, and admiring eyes. With eager gaze we trace the lucent path, till spent at length it shrinks to native nothing, while the bright stars which ever steady glow, unheeded shine, and bless the world below. Scene 3. Queen in Edessa. Queen. Oh! Give me way, the hardy victor comes, surrounded by adoring multitudes. On swelling tides of praise to heaven they raise him. To deck their idol, they rob the glorious beings of their splendor. Edessa. My royal lady, chase hence these passions. Queen. Peace, forever peace, have I not cause to hate this homicide? 'Twas by his cursed hand Vonones fell, yet fell not as became his gallant spirit, not by the warlike arm of chief renowned, but by a youth, ye gods, a beardless stripling, stabbed by his dastard falcon from behind. For well I know he feared to meet Vonones, as princely warriors meet with open daring, but shrunk amidst his guards, and gave him death, when faint with wounds, and weary with the fight. Edessa. With anguish I have heard his hapless fate, and mourned in silence for the gallant prince. Queen. Soft is thy nature, but, alas! Edessa, thy heart's a stranger to a mother's sorrows, to see the pride of all her wishes blasted. Thy fancy cannot paint the storm of grief, despair and anguish, which my breast has known. Oh! Shower, ye gods, your torments on Arsaces, cursed be the morn which dawned upon his birth. Edessa. Yet, I entreat. Queen. Away. For I will curse, oh! May he never know a father's fondness, or know it to his sorrow, may his hopes of joy be cut like mine, and his short life be one continued tempest. If he lives, let him be cursed with jealousy and fear, and vexed with anguish of neglecting scorn. May torturing hope present the flowing cup, then hasty snatch it from his eager thirst, and when he dies base treachery be the means. Edessa. Oh! Calm your spirits. Queen. Yes, I'll now be calm, calm as the sea when the rude waves are laid, and nothing but a gentle swell remains. My curse is heard, and I shall have revenge. There's something here which tells me 'twill be so, and peace resumes her empire o'er my breast. Vardanes is the minister vengeance. Furred by ambition, he aspiring seeks adorn his brows with Parthia's diadem. I've fanned the fire, and wrought him up to fury, envy shall urge him forward still to dare, and discord be the prelude to destruction, then this detested race shall feel my hate. Edessa. And doth thy hatred then extend so far, that innocent and guilty all alike must feel thy dreadful vengeance? Queen. Ah! Edessa, thou dost not know e'en half my mighty wrongs, but in thy bosom I will pour my sorrows. Edessa. With secrecy I ever have repaid your confidence. Queen. I know thou hast. Then hear, the changeling king who oft has kneeled before me, and owned no other power, now treats me with a dissembled love mixed with disdain. A newer beauty rules his faithless heart, which only in variety is blessed. Oft have I heard him, when wrapped up in sleep, and wanton fancy raid the mimic scene, call with unusual fondness on Evanth, while I have lain neglected by his side, except sometimes in a mistaken rapture he'd clasp me to his bosom. Edessa. Oh! Madam, let not corroding jealousy usurp your royal breast, unnumbered ills attend the wretch who entertains that fatal guest. Queen. Think not that I'll pursue its wandering fires, no more I'll know perplexing doubts and fears, and erring trace suspicion's endless maze, for, ah! I doubt no more. Edessa. Their shouts approach. Queen. Lead me, Edessa, to some peaceful gloom, some silent shade far from the walks of men, there shall the hopped revenge my thoughts employ, and soothe my sorrows with the coming joy. Scene for Evanth and Cleon. Evanth. No, I'll not meet him now, for love delights in the soft pleasures of the secret shade, and shuns the noise and tumult of the crowd. How tedious are the hours which bring him to my fond, panting heart. For oh, to those who live in expectation of the bliss, time slowly creeps, and every tardy minute seems mocking of their wishes. Say, Cleon, for you beheld the triumph, midst his pomp, did he not seem to curse the empty show, the pageant greatness, enemy to love, which held him from Evan? Haste, to tell me, and feed my greedy ear with the fond tale, yet, hold, for I shall weary you with questions, and ne'er be satisfied. Beware, Cleon, and guard your heart from love's delusive sweets. Cleon, is love an ill, that thus you caution me to shun his power? Evan, the tyrant, my Cleon, despotic rules, and fetters all our thoughts. Oh, wouldst thou love, then bid adieu to peace, then fears will come, and jealousies intrude, ravage your bosom, and disturb your quiet, e'en pleasure to excess will be a pain. Once I was free, then my exulting heart was like a bird that hops from spray to spray, and all was innocence and mirth. But, lo! the fowler came, and by his arts decoyed, and soon the wanton cagged. Twice 15 times has Cynthia dipped her horns in beams of light, twice 15 times has wasted all her brightness, since first I knew to love. 'Twas on that day when curves of Vonones fell upon the plain, the lovely victor doubly conquered me. Cleon, forgive my boldness, madam, if I ask what chance first gave you to Vononish power? Curiosity thou know'st is of our sex. Evan, that is a task will wake me to new sorrows, yet thou attend, and I will tell thee all. Arabia gave me birth, my father held great offices at court, and was reputed brave, wise and loyal, by his prince beloved. Oft has he led his conquering troops, enforced from frowning victory her awful honours. In infancy I was his only treasure, on me he wasted all his store of fondness. Oh, I could tell thee of his wondrous goodness, his more than father's love and tenderness. But thou wouldst jeer, and say the tale was trifling. So did he dote upon me, for in childhood my infant charms, and artless innocence blessed his fond age, and won on every heart. But, oh! from this sprung every future ill, this fatal beauty was the source of all. Cleon, 'tis often so, for beauty is a flower that tempts the hand to pluck it. Evan, full 3 times has scorching summer fled from cold winter's ruthless blasts, as oft again has spring in sprightly youth dressed nature in her beauties, since bathing in Niphate's 5, silver stream, attended only by one favourite maid. As we were sporting on the wanton waves, swift from the wood a troop of horsemen rushed, rudely they seized, and bore me trembling off. In vain Edessa with her shrieks assailed the heathens, for heathen was deaf to both our prayers. The wretch whose insolent embrace confounded me like thunder bursting on the guilty soul, with cursed Vononish voice poured in my ears a hateful tale of love. For he it seems had seen me at Arabia's royal court, and took those means to force me to his arms. Cleon, perhaps you may gain something from the captives of your lost parents. Evan, this I meant to try. Soon as the night hides nature in her darkness, veiled in the gloom will steal into their prison. But, oh! perhaps e'en now my aged sire may 'mongst the slain lie weltering on the field, pierced like a riddle through with numerous wounds, while parting life is quivering on his lips, he may perhaps be calling on his Evan. Yes, ye great powers who boast the name of mercy, ye have denied me to his latest moments, to all the offices of filial duty, to bind his wounds, and wash them with my tears. Is this your mercy? Cleon, blame not heaven, for heaven is just and kind. Dear lady, drive these black ideas from your gentle breast. Fancy delights to torture the distressed, and fill the gloomy scene with shadowy ills. Summon your reason, and you'll soon have comfort. Evan, dost thou name comfort to me, my Cleon, thou who know'st all my sorrows? Plead no more, 'tis reason tells me I am doubly wretched. Cleon, but hark, the music strikes, the rites begin, and, see, the doors are opening. Evan, let's retire. My heart is now too full to meet him here. Fly swift ye hours, till in his arms I'm pressed, and each intruding care is hushed to rest. Scene 5. The scene draws and discovers, in the inner part of the temple, a large image of the sun, with an altar before it. Around priests and attendants. King, Arsaces, Vardanes, Gutterzes, Phrates, Lysias, with Bethus and chains. Him, Parent of light, to thee belong our grateful tributary songs. Each thankful voice to thee shall rise, and cheerful pierce the azure skies. While in thy praise all earth combines, an echo in the chorus joins. All the gay pride of blooming May, the lily fair and blushing rose, to thee their early honours pay, and all their heavenly sweets disclose. The feathered choir on every tree to hail thy glorious dawn repair, while the sweet sons of harmony with hallelujahs fill the air. 'Tis thou hast bracketed the hero's arm, and given the love of praise to warm his bosom, as he onward flies, and for his country bravely dies. Thine's victory, and from thee springs ambition's fire, which glows in kings. King coming forward. Thus, to the gods our tributary songs, and now, oh! let me welcome once again my blooming victor to his father's arms. And let me thank thee for our safety, Parthia shall thank thee too, and give her grateful praise to her deliverer. Omnes. All hail! Arsaces, King. Thanks to my loyal friends. Vardanes aside. Curse the sound, e'en echo gives it back with interest, the joyful gales swell with the pleasing theme, and waft it far away to distant hills. Oh that my breath was poison, then indeed I'd hail him like the rest, but blast him too. Arsaces, my royal sire, these honours are unmerited, beneath your prosperous auspices I fought, bright victory to your banners joyful flew, and favoured for the sire the happy son. But lenity should grace the victor's laurels, then, hear, my gracious father. King. Ha, 'tis Bethus. Know'st thou, vain wretch, what fate attends on those who dare oppose the power of mighty kings, whom heaven delights to favour? Sure some god who sought to punish you for impious deeds, 'twas urged you forward to insult our arms, and brave us at our royal city's gates. Bethus. At honour's call, and at my king's command, though it were even with my single arm, again I'd brave the multitude, which, like a deluge, o'erwhelmed my gallant handful. Yea, would meet undaunted, all the fury of the torrent. 'Tis honour is the guide of all my actions, the ruling star by which I stare through life, and shun the shelves of infamy and vice. King. It was the thirst of gain which drew you on. 'Tis thus that avarice always cloaks its views, th ambition of your prince you gladly snatched as opportunity to fill your coffers. It was the plunder of our palaces, and of our wealthy cities, filled your dreams, and urged you on your way. But you have met the due reward of your audacity. Now shake your chains, shake and delight your ears with the soft music of your golden fetters. Bethus. True, I am fallen, but glorious was my fall, the day was brave I fought, we did our best, but victories of heaven. Look o'er yon field, see if thou findest one Arabian back disfigured with dishonourable wounds. No, here, deep on their bosoms, are engraven the marks of honour. 'Twas through here their souls flew to their blissful seats. Oh! Why did I survive the fatal day? To be the slave, to be the gaze and sport of vulgar crowds, thus, like a shackled tiger, stalk my round, and grimly lower upon the shouting herd. Ye gods! King. Away with him to instant death. Arsaces. Hear me, my lord, oh, not on this bright day, let not this day of joy blush with his blood. Nor count his steady loyalty a crime, but give him life, Arsaces humbly asks it, and may you e'er be served with honest hearts. King. Well, be it so. Hence, bear him to his dungeon. Lysias, we here commit him to thy charge. Bethus. Welcome my dungeon, but more welcome death. Trust not too much, vain monarch, to your power, no fortune places all her choicest gifts on ticklish heights, they shake with every breeze, and oft some rude wind hurls them to the ground. Jove's thunder strikes the lofty palaces, while the low cottage, in humility, securely stands, and sees the mighty ruin. What king can boast, tomorrow as today, thus, happy will I reign? The rising sun may view him seated on a splendid throne, and, setting, see him shake the servile chain. Exit guarded. Scene 6. King, Arsaces, Vardanes, Gutterses, Frates. Gutterses. Thus let me hail thee from the crowd distinct, for in the exulting voice of general joy my fainter sounds were lost. Believe me, brother, my soul dilates with joy to see thee thus. Arsaces. Thus let me thank thee in this fond embrace. Vardanes. The next will be my turn, gods, I had rather be sealed in a venomed serpent's fold. Gutterses. Oh, my loved brother, 'tis my humble boon, that, when the war next calls you to the field, I may attend you in the rage of battle. By imitating thy heroic deeds, perhaps, I may rise to some little worth, beneath thy care I'll try my feeble wings, till taught by thee to soar to nobler heights. King. Why, that's my boy, thy spirit speaks thy birth, no more I'll turn thee from the road to glory, to rust in slothfulness, with lazy gownsmen. Gutterses. Thanks, to my sire, I'm now completely blessed. Arsaces. But, I've another brother, where's Vardanes? King. Ha, what, methinks, he lurks behind the crowd, and wears a gloom which suits not with the time. Vardanes. Doubt not my love, though I lack eloquence, to dress my sentiments and catch the ear, though plain my manners, and my language rude, my honest heart disdains to wear disguise. Then think not I am slothful in the race, or, that my brother springs before my love. Arsaces. Far be suspicion from me. Vardanes. So, 'tis done, thanks to dissembling, all is well again. King. Now let us forward, to the temple go, and let, with cheerful wine, the goblets flow. Let blink aid jollity his aid afford, to crown our triumph, round the festive board, but, let the wretch, whose soul can know a care, far from our joys, to some lone shade repair, in secrecy, there let him e'er remain, brood o'er his gloom, and still increase his pain. End of the first act. ACT second. Scene I. A prison. Lysias alone. The sun set frowning, and refreshing eve lost all its sweets, obscured in devil gloom. This night shall sleep be stranger to these eyes, peace dwells not here, and slumber flies the shock. My spirits, like the elements, are warring, and mock the tempest with a kindred rage. I, who can joy in nothing, but revenge, know not those boasted ties of love and friendship. Vardanes I regard, but as he give me some hopes of vengeance on the Prince Arsaces, but, ha, he comes, whacked by the angry storm, 'tis to my wish, thus would I form designs, horror should breed beneath the veil of horror, and darkness aid conspiracies. He's here. Scene 2. Vardanes and Lysias. Lysias. Welcome, my noble prince. Vardanes. Thanks, gentle friend. Heathens, what a night is this! Lysias. 'Tis filled with terror. Some dread event beneath this horror lurks, ordained by fate's irrevocable doom. Perhaps Arsaces fall, an angry heathen speaks it, in thunder, to the trembling world. Vardanes. Terror indeed. It seems as sickening nature had given her order up to general ruin. The heavens appear as one continued flame, earth with her terror shakes, dim night retires, and the red lightning gives a dreadful day, while in the thunder's voice each sound is lost. Fear sinks the panting heart in every bosom, e'en the pale dead, affrighted at the horror, as though unsafe, start from their marble goals, and howling through the streets are seeking shelter. Lysias. I saw a flash stream through the angry clouds, and bend its course to where a stately pine behind the garden stood. Quickly it seized, and wrapped it in a fiery fold. The trunk was shivered into atoms, and the branches off were lopped, and wildly scattered round. Vardanes. Why rage the elements? They are not cursed like me. Event frowns not angry on them, the wind may play upon her beauteous bosom nor fear her chiding, light can bless her sense, and in the floating mirror she beholds those beauties which can fetter all mankind. Earth gives her joy, she plucks the fragrant rose, pleased takes its sweets, and gazes on its bloom. Lysias. My lord, forget her, tear her from your breast. Who, like the phoenix gazes on the sun, and strives to soar up to the glorious blaze, should never leave ambition's brightest object, to turn, and view the beauties of a flower. Vardanes. Oh, Lysias, chide no more, for I have done. Yes, I'll forget this proud disdainful beauty. Hence, with vain love, ambition, now, alone, shall guide my actions, since mankind delights to give me pain, I'll study mischief too, and shake the earth, e'en like this raging tempest. Lysias. A night like this, so dreadful to behold, since my remembrance's birth, I never saw. Vardanes. E'en such a night, dreadful as this, they say, my teeming mother gave me to the world. Once by those sages who, in knowledge rich, can pry into futurity, and tell what distant ages will produce of wonder, my days were deemed to be a hurricane. My early life proved their prediction false. Beneath a sky serene my voyage began, but, to this long uninterrupted calm, storms shall succeed. Lysias. Then haste, to raise the tempest. My soul disdains this one eternal round, where each succeeding day is like the former. Trust me, my noble prince, here is a heart steady and firm to all your purposes, and here's a hand that knows to execute whate'er designs thy daring breast can form, nor ever shake with fear. Vardanes. And I will use it. Come to my bosom, let me place thee here, how happy am I clasping so much virtue. Now, by the light, it is my firm belief, one mighty soul in common swells our bosoms, such sameness can't be matched in different beings. Lysias. Your confidence, my lord, much honors me, and when I act unworthy of your love may I be hooted from society, as though disgraceful to the humankind, and driven to herd among the savage race. Vardanes. Believe me, Lysias, I do not know a single thought which tends toward suspicion, for well I know thy worth. When I affront it, by the least doubt, may I be ever cursed with faithless friends, and by his dagger fall whom my deluded wishes most would favour. Lysias. Then let's no longer trifle time away, I'm all impatience till I see thy brows bright in the glories of a diadem. My soul is filled with anguish when I think that by weak princes worn, 'tis thus discracked. Haste, mount the throne, and, like the morning sun, chase with your piercing beams those mists away, which dim the glory of the Parthian state. Each honest heart desires it, numbers there are ready to join you, and support your cause, against each opposing faction. Vardanes. Sure some god, bid you thus call me to my dawning honours, and joyful I obey the pleasing summons. Now by the powers of heaven, of earth and hell, most solemnly I swear, I will not know that quietude which I was wont to know, till I have climbed the height of all my wishes, or fell, from glory, to the silent grave. Lysias. Noddly resolved, and spoken like Vardanes, there shone my prince in his superior lustre. Vardanes. But, then, Arsaces, he's a fatal bar. Oh, could I brush this busy insect from me, which envious strives to rob me of my bloom, then might I, like some fragrant opening flower, spread all my beauties in the face of day. Ye gods! Why did ye give me such a soul, which every way is formed for empire, and damn me with a younger brother's right? The diadem would set as well on mine, as on the brows of any lordly he. Nor is this hand weak to enforce command. And shall I steal into my grave, and give my name up to oblivion, to be thrown among the common rubbish of the times? No, perish first, this happy hated brother. Lysias. I always wear a dagger, for your service, I need not speak the rest. When humbly I entreated of your brother to attend him as lieutenant in this war, frowning contempt, he heartily replied, he entertained not traitors in his service. True, I betrayed Orodes, but with cause. He struck me, like a sorry abject slave, and still withheld from giving what he'd promised. Fear not Arsaces, believe me, he shall soon his quietus have, but, see, he comes, what can this mean? Why at this lonely hour, and unattended? Ha, 'tis opportune, I'll in, and stab him now. I heed not what the danger is, so I but have revenge, then heap perdition on me. Vardanes. Hold, awhile 'twill be better could we undermine him, and make him fall by our tabernush doom. Lysias. Well, be it so. Vardanes. But let us now retire, We must not be observant together here. Scene 3. Arsaces alone. 'Tis here that hapless Bethus is confined. He who, but yesterday, like angry Jove, when punishing the crimes of guilty men, spread death and desolation all around, while Parthia trembled at his name, is now unfriended and forlorn, and counts the hours, wrapped in the gloomy horrors of a goal. How dark, and hidden, are the turns of fate! His rigid fortune moves me to compassion. Oh! 'Tis a heavenly virtue when the heart can feel the sorrows of another's bosom. It dignifies the man. The stupid wretch who knows not this sensation, is an image, and wants the feeling to make up a life. I'll in, and give my aid to soothe his sorrows. Scene 4. Vardanes and Lysias. Lysias. Let us observe with care, something we, yet, may gather, to give to us the vantage. No matter what's the intent. Vardanes. How easy 'tis to cheat this busy, tattling, censoring world. For fame still names our actions, good or bad, as introduced by chance, which oft-times throws wrong lights on objects. Vice she dresses up, in the bright form, and goodliness, of virtue, while virtue languishes, and pines neglected, robbed of her lustre. But, let's forward, Lysias, thou know'st each turn in this thy dreary rule, then lead me to some secret stand, from whence, unaudiced, all their actions we may view. Lysias. Here, take your stand behind. See, Bethus comes. They retire. Scene 5. Bethus alone. To think on death in gloomy solitude, in dungeons and in chains, when expectation joined with serious thought describe him to us, his heightened terrors strike upon the soul with awful dread. Imagination rayed to frenzy, plunges in a sea of horror, and tastes the pains, the agonies of dying. Ha! Who is this? Perhaps he bears my fate. It must be so, but, why this privacy? Scene 6. Arsaces and Bethus. Arsaces. Health to the noble Bethus, health and joy. Bethus. A steady hardened villain, one exprinkled in his employment. Ha! Where's thy dagger? It cannot give me fear. I'm ready, see, my opening bosom tempts the friendly steel. Fain would I cast this tiresome being off, like an old garment worn to wretchedness. Here, strike, for I'm prepared. Arsaces. Oh! View me better, say, do I wear the gloomy ruffian's frown? Bethus. Ha! 'Tis the gallant prince, the brave Arsaces, and Bethy's conqueror. Arsaces. And Bethy's friend, a name I'm proud to wear. Bethus. Away, away, mock with your gesture to divert the court, fit scene for sportive joys and frolic mirth. Think'st thou I lack that manly constancy which braves misfortune, and remains unshaken? Are these the emblems of thy friendship, these rankling chains? Say, does it gall like these? No, let me taste the bitterness of sorrow, for I am reconciled to wretchedness. The gods have emptied all their mighty store, of hoarded ills, upon my whitened age. Now death, but, oh! I coy death in vain, like a cold maid, he scorns my fond complaining. 'Tis thou, insulting prince, 'tis thou hast dragged my soul, just rising, down again to earth, and clogged her wings with dull mortality, a hateful bondage. Why? Arsaces. A moment hear me. Bethus. Why dost thou, like an angry vengeful ghost, glide hither to disturb this peaceful gloom? What, dost thou envy me my miseries, my chains and flinty pavement, where I oft in sleep behold the image of the death I wish, forget my sorrows and heart-breaking anguish. These horrors I would undisturbed enjoy, attended only by my silent thoughts. Is it to see the wretch that you have made? To view the ruins of unhappy Bethus, and triumph in my grief? Is it for this you penetrate my dark joyless prison? Arsaces. Oh! Do not injure me by such suspicions. Unknown to me are cruel scoffs and jests. My breast can feel compassion's tenderness, the warrior's warmth, the soothing joys of friendship. When adverse bold battalions shook the earth, and horror triumphed on the hostile field, I sought you with a glorious enmity, and armed my brow with the stern frown of war. but now the angry trumpet wakes no more the youthful champion to the lust for blood. Retiring rage gives place to softer passions, and generous warriors know no longer hate. The name of foe is lost, and thus I ask your friendship, Bethis. Ah! Why dost thou mock me thus? Arsaces. Let the base coward, he who ever shrinks, and trembles, at the slight name of danger, taunt, and revile, with bitter gibes, the wretched. The brave are ever to distress a friend. Though my dear country spoiled by wasteful war, her harvests blazing, desolate her towns, and baleful ruin showed her haggard face called out on me to save her from her foes, and I obeyed, yet to your gallant prowess, and unmatched deeds, I admiration gave. But now my country knows the sweets of safety, freed from her fears. Sure now I may indulge my just esteem for your superior virtue. Bethis. Yes, I must think you what you would be thought, for honest minds are easy of belief, and always judge of others by themselves, but often are deceived. Yet Parthia breeds not virtue much like thine, the barbarous clime teems with naught else but villains versed in ill. Arsaces. Dissimulation never marked my looks, nor flattering deceit e'er taught my tongue, the tale of falsehood, to disguise my thoughts, to virtue, and her fair companion, truth, I've ever bowed, their holy precepts kept, and scanned by them the actions of my life. Suspicion surely ne'er disturbs the brave, they never know the fears of doubting thoughts. But free, as are the altars of the gods, from every hand receive the sacrifice. Scene 7. Arsaces, Bethis, Evan and Cleon. Evan. Heathens, what a gloom hangs round this dreadful place, fit habitation for the guilty mind. Oh! If such terrors wait the innocent, which tread these vaults, what must the impious feel, who've all their crimes to stare them in the face? Bethis. Immortal gods! Is this reality? Or mere illusion? Am I blessed at last, or is it to torment me that you've raised the semblance of Evan to my eyes? It is. It is. 'Tis she. Arsaces. Ha! What means this? She faints. She faints. Life has forsook its seat, pale death usurps its place. Evan, oh! Awake to life. Love and Arsaces call. Bethis. Off, give her to my arms, my warm embrace shall melt death's icy chains. Cleon. She lives. She lives. See, on her cheeks the rosy glow returns. Arsaces. O joy! O joy! Her opening eyes, again, break, like the morning sun, a better day. Bethis. Evan. Evan. Oh! My father. Arsaces. Ha! Her father. Bethis. Heaven, thou art kind at last, and this indeed is recompense for all the ills I've passed. For all the sorrows which my heart has known, each wakeful night, and every day of anguish. This has sweetened all my bitter cup, and gave me once again to taste of joy, joy which has long been stranger to this bosom. Hence disgrace, off, ignominy off, but one embrace, I ask but one embrace, and 'tis denied. Evan. Oh, yes, around thy neck I'll fold my longing arms, thy softer fetters, thus press thee to my happy breast, and kiss away those tears that stain thy aged cheeks. Bethis. Oh! 'Tis too much. It is too much. Ye gods! Life's at her utmost stretch, and bursting near with heart-swollen ecstasy. Now let me die. Arsaces. What marble heart could see this scene unmoved, nor give a tear? My eyes grow dim, and sympathetic passion falls like a gushing torrent on my bosom. Evan. Oh, happy me, this place, which lately seemed so filled with horror, now is pleasure's circle. Here will I fix my seat. My pleasing task shall be to cherish thy remaining life. All night I'll keep a vigil o'er thy slumbers, and on my breast repose thee, mark thy dreams, and when thou wakest invent some pleasing tale, or with my songs the tedious hours beguile. Bethis. Still let me gaze upon thee, let me strain every nerve with ravishment, and all my life be centred in my vision. To see thee thus, to hear thy angel voice, it is, indeed, a luxury of pleasure. Speak, speak again, for oh, 'tis heaven to hear thee. Celestial sweetness dwells on every accent. Lull me to rest, and soothe my raging joy. Joy which distracts me with unruly transports. Now, by thy dear departed mother's shade, thou brightest pattern of all excellence, thou who in prattling infancy hast blessed me, I would not give this one transporting moment, this fullness of delight, for all, but, ah, 'tis vile, ambition, glory, all is vile, to the soft sweets of love and tenderness. Evan. Now let me speak, my throbbing heart is full, I'll tell thee all, alas! I have forgot 'tis has slipped me in the tumult of my joy. And yet I thought that I had much to say. Bethus. Oh! I have cursed my birth, indeed, I have blasphemed the gods, with unbecoming passion, arraigned their justice, and defied their power, in bitterness, because they had denied thee to support the weakness of my age. But now no more I'll rail and rave at fate, all its decrees are just, complaints are impious, weight or short-sighted mortals feel, springs from their blindness in the ways of Providence. Sufficient wisdom 'tis for man to know that the great ruler is e'er wise and good. Arsaces. Ye figured stones. Ye senseless, lifeless images of men, who never gave a tear to others' woe, whose bosoms never glowed for others' good, O worry heaven with your repeated prayers, and strive to melt the angry powers to pity, that ye may truly live. Evan. Oh! How my heart beats in my breast, and shakes my trembling frame! I sink beneath the sudden flood of joy, too mighty for my spirits. Arsaces. My Evan, thus in my arms I catch thy falling beauties, cheer thee, and kiss thee back to life again, thus to my bosom I could ever hold thee, and find new pleasure. Evan. Oh, my loved Arsaces, forgive me that I saw thee not before, indeed my soul was busily employed, nor left a single thought at liberty. But thou, I know, art gentleness and love. Now I am doubly paid for all my sorrows, for all my fears for thee. Arsaces. Then, fear no more, give to guilty wretches painful terrors, whose keen remembrance raises horrid forms, shapes that in spite of nature shock their souls with dreadful anguish, but thy gentle bosom, where innocence beams light and gaiety, can never know a fear, now shining joy shall gild the pleasing scene. Evan. Alas! This joy I fear is like a sudden flame shot from th expiring taper, darkness will ensue, and devil night I dread unclose us round. Anxiety does yet disturb my breast, and frightful apprehension shakes my soul. Bethus. How shall I thank you, ye bright glorious beings? Shall I in humble adoration bow, or fill the earth with your resounding praise? No, this I leave to noisy hypocrites, a mortal's tongue disgraces such a theme. But even delights where silent gratitude mounts each aspiring thought to its bright throne, nor leaves to language aught. Words may indeed from man to man their several wants express, he even asks the pure incense of the heart. Arsaces. I'll to the king, ere he retires to rest, nor will I leave him till I have gained your freedom. His love will surely not deny me this. Scene 8. Vardanes and Lysias come forward. Lysias. 'Twas a moving scene, e'en my rough nature was nighly melted. Vardanes. Hence coward pity, what is joy to them, to me is torture. Now am I racked with pains that far exceed those agonies, which fabbling priests relate, the damned endure, the shock of hopeless love, unblessed with any views to soothe ambition, rob me of all my reasoning faculties. Arsaces gains advance, fills the throne, while I am doomed to foul obscurity, to pine and grieve neglected. Lysias. My noble prince, would it not be a masterpiece, indeed, to make this very bliss their greatest ill, and damn them in the very folds of joy? Vardanes. This I will try, and stretch my utmost art, unknown as yet the means, we'll think on that, success may follow if you'll lend your aid. Lysias. The storm still rages, I must to the king, and know what further orders ere he sleeps, soon I'll return, and speak my mind more fully. Vardanes. Haste, Lysias, haste, to aid me with thy counsel. for without thee, all my designs will prove like night and chaos, darkness and confusion. But to thy word shall light and order spring. Let coward schoolmen talk of virtue's rules, and preach the vain philosophy of fools. Court eager their obscurity, afraid to taste a joy, and in some gloomy shade dream o'er their lives, while in a mournful strain they sing of happiness they never gain. But form it for nobler purposes I come, to gain a crown, or else a glorious tomb. End of the second act. ACT third. Scene I. The Palace. Queen in Edessa. Queen. Talk not of sleep to me, the god of rest disdains to visit where disorder reigns. Not beds of down, nor music's softest strains, can charm him when 'tis anarchy within. He flies with eager haste the mind disturbed, and sheds his blessings where the soul's in peace. Edessa. Yet, hear me, madam. Queen. Hence, away, Edessa, for thou know'st not the pangs of jealousy. Say, has he not forsook my bed, and left me like a lone widow mourning to the night? This, with the injury his son has done me, if I forgive, may heaven in anger shower its torment on me. Ha! Isn't that the king? Edessa. It is your royal lord, great Artabanus. Queen. Leave me, for I would meet him here alone, something is laboring in my breast. Scene 2. King and Queen. King. This leads to fair Event's chamber, ha! The Queen. Queen. Why dost thou start? So starts the guilty wretch, when, by some watchful eye, prevented from his dark designs. King. Prevented? How, what meanest thou? Queen. Art thou then so dull? Cannot thy heart, thy changeling heart, explain my meaning to thee, or must upbraiding wake thy apprehension? Ah! Faithless, tell me, have I lost those charms which thou so oft hast sworn could warm old age, and tempt the frozen hermit from his cell, to visit once again our gayer world? This, thou hast sworn, perfidious as thou art, 1,000 times. As often hast thou sworn eternal constancy, and endless love, yet every time was perjured. King. Sure, 'tis frenzy. Queen. Indeed, 'tis frenzy, 'tis the height of madness, for I have wandered long in sweet delusion. At length the pleasing phantom changed its form, and left me in a wilderness of woe. King. Prithee, no more, dismiss those jealous heats. Love must decay, and soon disgust arise, where endless jarrings and upbraidings damp the gentle flame, which warms the lover's breast. Queen. Oh! Grant me patience even. And dost thou think by these reproaches to disguise thy guilt? No, 'tis in vain, thy art's too thin to hide it. King. Curse on the marriage chain. The clog, a wife, who still will force and polish with the joy, though power is wanting, and the will is cloyed, still urge the debt when nothing's left to pay. Queen. Ha! Dost thou own thy crime, nor feel the glow of conscious shame? King. Why should I blush, if Heaven has made me as I am, and gave me passions? Blessed only in variety, then blame the gods, who formed my nature thus, not me. Queen. Oh! Traitor! Villain! King. Hence, away, no more I'll wage a woman's war with words. Exit. Queen. Down, down ye rising passions, give me ease, or break my heart, for I must yet be calm, but, yet, revenge, our sex's joy, is mine. By all the gods! He lives not till the morn. Who slights my love, shall sink beneath my hate. Scene 3. Queen and Vardanes. Vardanes. What, raging to the tempest? Queen. Away. Away. Yes, I will rage, a tempest here within, above the trifling of the noisy elements. Blow ye loud winds, burst with your violence, for ye but barely imitate the storm that wildly rages in my tortured breast. The king, the king. Vardanes. Ha, what? The king? Queen. Ivan. Vardanes. You talk like riddles, still obscure and short, give me some cue to guide me through this maze. Queen. Ye pitying powers! Oh! for a poison, some curse a deadly draught, that I might blast her beauties, and rob her eyes of all their fatal lustre. Vardanes. What, blast her charms? Dare not to think of it, shocking impiety! The numerous systems which gay creation spreads, bright blazing suns, with all attendant planets circling round, are not worth half the radiance of her eyes. She's heaven's peculiar care, good spirits hover round, a shining band, to guard her beauty's queen. Be they watchful then, for should remissness taint the guard, I'll snatch the opportunity, and hurl her to destruction. Vardanes. Dread Thermusa, say, what has roused this tumult in thy soul? What dost thou rage with unabating fury, wild as the winds, loud as the troubled sea? Queen. Yes, I will tell thee, Evanth, curse her, with charms, would that my curses had the power to kill, destroy, and blast where'er I hate, then would I curse, still curse, till death should seize the dying accents on my faltering tongue. So should this world, and the false changeling man be buried in one universal ruin. Vardanes. Still errest thou from the purpose? Queen. Ha, 'tis so, yes I will tell thee, for I know fond fool, deluded wretch, thou dost on Evanth, be that thy greatest curse, be cursed like me, with jealousy and rage, for know, the king, thy father, is thy rival. Scene 4. Vardanes alone. Ha, my rival! How knew she that? Yet stay, she's gone, my rival, what then? He is our Arceus' rival too. Ha, this may aid and ripen my designs, could I but fire the king with jealousy, and then accuse my brother of intrigues against the state. Ha, join in with Bethis, and confederate with Arabians. 'Tis most likely that jealousy would urge him to belief. I'll sink my claim until some fitter time, till opportunity smiles on my purpose. Lysias already has received the mandate for Bethi's freedom, let them still proceed, this harmony shall change to discord soon. Fortune methinks of late grows wondrous kind, she scarcely leaves me to employ myself. Scene 5. King, Arsaces, Vardanes. King. But where's Evanth? Where's the lovely maid? Arsaces. On the cold pavement, by her aged sire, the dear companion of his solitude, she sits, nor can persuasion make her rise. But in the wild extravagance of joy she weeps, then smiles, like April's sun, through showers, while with strained eyes he gazes on her face, and cries, in ecstasy, Ye gracious powers! It is too much to bear. Then clasps her to his breast, while down his cheeks large drops each other trace, and mix with hers. King. Thy tale is moving, for my eyes o'erflow, how slow does Lysias with Evanth creep. So moves old time when bringing us to bliss. Now war shall cease, no more of war I'll have, death knows satiety, and pale destruction turns loathing from his food, thus fork it on him. The trifling dust, the cause of all this ruin, the trade of death shall urge no more. Scene 6. King, Arsaces, Vardanes, Evanth, Lysias. King. Evanth. See pleasure's goddess deigns to dignify the happy scene, and make our bliss complete. So Venus, from her heavenly seat, descends to bless the gay Cythera with her presence. 1,000 smiling graces wait the goddess, 1,000 little loves are fluttering round, and joy is mingled with the beauteous train. Evanth. Oh, royal sir, thus lowly to the ground I bend, in humble gratitude, accept my thanks, for this thy goodness. Words are vile to express the image of my lively thought, and speak the grateful fullness of my heart. All I can say, is that I now am happy, and that thy giving hand has made me blessed. King. Oh, rise, Evanth, rise, this lowly posture suits not with charms like thine, they should command, and every heart exult in thy behests. But, where's thy aged sire? Evanth. This sudden turn of fortune has so wrought upon his frame, his limbs could not support him to thy presence. Arsaces. This is truly great, this is the hero, like even, to scatter blessings among mankind and e'er delight in making others happy. Cold is the praise which waits the victor's triumph who through a sea of blood has rushed to glory, to the o'erflowings of a grateful heart, by obligations conquered, yet, extend thy bounty unto me. Kneels King. Ha, rise Arsaces. Arsaces. Not till you grant my boon. King. Speak, and 'tis thine, wide through our kingdom let thy eager wishes search for some jewel worthy of thy seeing. Something that's fit to show the donor's bounty, and by the glorious Son, our worshipped God, thou shalt not have denial. E'en my crown shall gild thy brows with shining beams of empire. With pleasure I'll resign to thee my honours, I long for calm retirement softer joys. Arsaces. Long may you wear it, grant it bounteous heaven, and happiness attend it. 'Tis my prayer that daily rises with the early sweets of nature's incense, and the lark's loud strain. 'Tis not the unruly transport of ambition that urges my desires to ask your crown. Let the vain wretch, who prides in gay dominion, who thinks not of the Great One's weighty cares, enjoy his lofty wish, wide-spreading rule. The treasure which I ask, put in the scale, would overbalance all that kings can boast, empire and diadems. King. Away, that thought, name it, haste, speak. Arsaces. For all the dangerous toil, thirst, hunger, marches long that I've endured, for all the blood I've in thy service spent, reward me with advance. King. Ha, what say'st thou? Vardanes. The king is moved, and angry bites his lip. Through my benighted soul all cheering hope aside beams, like an orient sun, reviving joy. Arsaces. The stern Vonoans ne'er could boast a married but loving her. King. Ah! Curse the hated name, yes, I remember when the fell ruffian directed all his fury at my life. Then set, by pitying heaven, to assert the right of injured majesty, thou, Arsaces, taught him the duty he ne'er knew before, and laid the traitor dead. Arsaces. My royal sire. Lysias. My liege, the prince still kneels. King. Ha, rebel, off strikes him. What, Lysias, did I strike thee? Forgive my rage, the name of cursed Vonoans fires my blood, and gives me up to wrath. Lysias. I am your slave, swayed by your pleasure, when I forget it, may this keen dagger, which I mean to hide deep in his bosom, pierce my vitals through. Aside. King. Didst thou not name Ivan? Arsaces. I did, my lord. And, say, whom should I name but her, in whom my soul has centred all her happiness? Nor canst thou blame me, view her wondrous charms, she's all perfection. Bounteous heaven has formed her to be the joy and wonder of mankind. But language is too vile to speak her beauties. Here every power of glowing fancy's lost, rose blush secure, ye lilies still enjoy your silver whiteness, I'll not rob your charms to deck the bright comparison. For here it sure must fail. King. He's wanton in her praise aside. I tell thee, prince, hadst thou as many tongues, as days have wasted since creation's birth, they were too few to tell the mighty theme. Ivan, I'm lost. I'm lost. Aside. Arsaces. Then I'll be dumb forever. King. O rash and fatal oath! Is there no way, no winding path to shun this precipice, but must I fall and dash my hopes to atoms? In vain I strive, thought but perplexes me, yet shows no hold to bear me up. Now, hold my heart awhile, she's thine 'tis done. Arsaces. In deep prostration, I thank my royal father. King. A sudden pain shoots through my trembling breast, lend me thy arm Vardanes, cruel powers. Scene 7. Arsaces and Ivan. Ivan after a pause. Ere since the dawn of my unhappy life joy never shone serenely on my soul. Still something intervened to cloud my day. Tell me, ye powers, unfold the hidden crime for which I'm doomed to this eternal woe, thus still to number o'er my hours with tears? The gods are just I know, nor are decrees in hurry shuffle it out, but where the bolt takes its direction justice points the mark. Yet still in vain I search within my breast, I find no sins are there to shudder at, naught but the common frailties of our natures. Arsaces, oh! Arsaces! Ha! Why that look of anguish? Why didst thou name me with that sound of sorrow? Ah! Say, why stream those gushing tears so fast from their bright fountain? Sparkling joy should now be lightened in thine eye, and pleasure glow upon thy rosy cheek. Ye sorrows hence, 'tis love shall triumph now. Even. Oh! Sighs. Arsaces. What means that sigh? Tell me, why heaves thy breast with such emotion? Some dreadful thought is labouring for a vent. Haste, give it loose, ere strengthened by confinement it wrecks thy frame, and tears its snowy prison. Is sorrow then so pleasing that you hoard it with as much love, as misers do their gold? Give me my share of sorrows. Even. Ah! Too soon you'll know what I would hide. Arsaces. Be it from thee, the dreadful tale, when told by thee, shall please. Haste, to produce it with its native terrors, my steady soul shall still remain unshaken. For who when blessed with beauties like to thine would e'er permit a sorrow to intrude? Far hence in darksome shades does sorrow dwell, where hapless wretches through the awful gloom echo their woes, and sign to the winds, augment with tears the gently murmuring stream. But ne'er disturbed such happiness as mine. Even. Oh! 'Tis not all thy boasted happiness can save thee from disquietude and care. Then build not too securely on these joys, for envious sorrow soon will undermine, and let the goodly structure fall to ruin. Arsaces. I charge thee, by our mutual vows, Even, tell me, nor longer keep me in suspense, give me to know the utmost rage of fate. Even. Then no, impossible. Arsaces. Ha! Dost thou fear to shock me? Even. No, thy father loves Even. Arsaces. Loves thee? Even. Yea, e'en to distraction loves me. Oft at my feet he's told the moving tale, and wooed me with the ardency of youth. I pitied him indeed, but that was all. Thou wouldst have pitied too. Arsaces. I fear 'tis true. 1,000 crowding circumstances speak it. Ye cruel gods! I've wrecked a father's peace. Oh! Bitter thought. Even. Didst thou observe, Arsaces, how reluctant he gave me to thy arms? Arsaces. Yes, I observed that when he gave thee up, it seemed as though he gave his precious life, and would forego the haven of thy love, to rest on thy soft swelling breast, and in sweet slumber soothe each sharp intruding care? Oh! It were bliss, such as immortals taste, to press thy ruby lips distilling sweets, or see our sealed in thy snowy arms to snatch a joy, that gods. Even. Come, then, my much-loved prince, let's seek the shelter of some kind retreat. Happy Arabia opens wide her arms, there may we find some friendly solitude, far from the noise and hurry of the court. Ambitious views shall never blast our joys, or tyrant fathers triumph o'er our wills. There may we live like the first happy pair clothed in primeval innocence secure. Our food untainted by luxurious arts, plain, simple, as our lives, shall not destroy the health it should sustain. While the clear brook affords the cooling draught our thirsts to quench. There, hand in hand, well trace the citron grove, while with the songsters round I join my voice, to hush thy cares and calm thy ruffled soul, or, on some flowery bank reclined, my strains shall captivate the natives of the stream, while on its crystal lap ourselves we view. Arsaces. I see before us a wide sea of sorrows, angry waves roll forward to overwhelm us, black clouds arise, and the wind whistles loud. But yet, oh! Could I save thee from the wreck, thou beauteous casket, where my joys are stored, let the storm rage with double violence, smiling I'd view its wide extended horrors. Even. 'Tis not enough that we do know the ill, say, shall we calmly see the tempest rise, and seek no shelter from inclement sky, but bid it rage? Arsaces. Ha! Will he force thee from me? What, tear thee from my fond and bleeding heart? And must I lose thee ever? Dreadful word! Never to gaze upon thy beauties more? Never to taste the sweetness of thy lips? Never to know the joys of mutual love? Never! Oh! let me lose the power of thinking, for thought is near allied to desperation. Why, cruel sire, why did you give me life, and load it with a weight of wretchedness? Take back my being, or relieve my sorrows. Ha, art thou not Evan? Art thou not the lovely maid, who blessed the fond Arsaces? Raving Evan! Oh, my loved lord, recall your scattered spirits. Alas, I fear your senses are unsettled. Arsaces! Yes, I would leave this dull and heavy sense. Let me grow mad. Perhaps, I then may gain some joy, by kind imagination formed, beyond reality. Oh, my Evan, why was I cursed with empire? Born to rule? Would I had been some humble peasant's son, and thou some shepherd's daughter on the plain. My throne some hillock, and my flock my subjects, my crook my sceptre, and my faithful dog my only guard. Nor cursed with dreams of greatness. At early dawn I'd hail the coming day, and join the lark the rival of his lay. At sultry noon to some kind shade repair, thus joyful pass the hours, my only care, to guard my flock, and please the yielding fair. Scene 8. King. Vardanes behind the scene. King. I will not think, to think is torment. Ha, see, how they twine. Ye furies cut their hold. Now their hot blood beats loud to love's alarms. Sigh presses sigh, while from their sparkling eyes flashes desire. Oh! Ye bright heavenly beings, who pitying bend to suppliant lovers' prayers, and aid them in extremity, assist me. Vardanes. Thus, for the Trojan, mourned the queen of Carthage. So, on the shore she raving stood, and saw his navy leave her hospitable shore. In vain she cursed at the wind which filled their sails, and bore the emblem of its change away. Comes forward. King. Vardanes, ha, come here, I know thou lovest me. Vardanes. I do, my lord. But, say, what busy villain durst e'er approach your ear, with cozening tales, and urge you to a doubt? King. None, none believe me. I'll ne'er press thy love with fearful doubt. A little nigher, let me lean upon thee, and thou be my support, for now I mean to unbosom to thee free without restraint, search all the deep recesses of my soul, and open every darling thought before thee, which long I've secreted with jealous care. Pray, mark me well. Vardanes. I will, my royal sire. King. On Anna thus reclined the lovesick Dido. Thus to her cheek laid hers with gentle pressure, and wet her sister with a pearly shower, which fell from her sad eyes, then told her tale, while gentle Anna gave a pitying tear, and owned 'twas moving. Thou canst pity too, I know thy nature tender and engaging. Vardanes. Tell me, my gracious lord, what moves you thus? Why is your breast distracted with these tumults? Teach me some method how to soothe your sorrows, and give your heart its former peace and joy. Instruct thy loved Vardanes. King. Yes, I'll tell thee. But listen with attention while I speak. And yet I know 'twill shock thy gentle soul, and horror o'er thee spread his palsy hand. Oh, my loved son! Thou fondness of my age! Thou art the prop of my declining years, in thee alone I find a father's joy, of all my offspring, but Arsaces. Vardanes. Ha! My brother. King. Why dost start? Thy brother pursues me with his hate, and, while warm life rolls the red current through my veins, delights to see me tortured. With an easy smile he meets my sufferings, and derides my pain. Vardanes. Oh! King. What means that hollow groan? Vardanes, speak, death's image fits upon thy pallid cheek, while thy low voice sounds as when murmurs run through lengthened vaults. Vardanes. Oh, my foreboding thoughts! Aside. 'Twas this disturbed my rest. When sleep at night locked me in slumbers. In my dreams I saw my brother's crime, yet, death. It cannot be. King. Ha, what was that? Vardanes. Oh, my dread lord, some villain bred up in lies, and trained to treachery, has injured you by vile reports, to stain my princely brother's honor. King. Thou know'st more, thy looks confess what thou in vain wouldst hide, and hast thou then conspired against me too, and sworn concealment to your practices? Thy guilt. Vardanes. Ha! Guilt. What guilt? King. Nay, start not so, I'll know your purposes, spite of thy art. Vardanes. Oh, ye great gods! And is it come to this? My royal father, call your reason home, drive these loud passions hence, that thus deform you. My brother, ah! What shall I say? My brother sure loves you as he ought. King. Ha, as he ought? Hell blister thy evasive tongue, I'll know it, I will. I'll search thy breast, thus will I open a passage to your secrets, yet resolved, yet steady in your horrid villainy. 'Tis fit that I from whom such monsters sprung no more should birth on earth, ye parricides. Here plant your daggers in this hated bosom, here rive my heart, and end at once my sorrows. I gave ye being, that's the mighty crime. Vardanes. I can no more, here let me bow in anguish. Think not that I ere joined in his designs, because I have concealed my knowledge of them. I meant, by powerful reason's friendly aid, to turn him from destruction's dreadful path, and bring him to a sense of what he owed to you as king and father. King. Say on, I'll hear. Vardanes. He views thy sacred life with envious hate, as 'tis a bar to his ambitious hopes. On the bright throne of empire his plummet wishes seat him, while on his proud aspiring brows he feels the pleasing weight of royalty. But when he wakes from these his airy dreams, delusions formed by the deceiver hope, to raise him to the glorious height of greatness, then hurl him from proud empire to subjection. Wild wrath will quickly swell his hardy breast, soon as he finds 'tis but a shadowy blessing. 'Twas favouring accident discovered to me all that I know. This evening as I stood alone, reared, in the still gallery, that leads up to th apartment of my brother, to indulge my melancholy thoughts. King. Proceed. Vardanes. A wretch approached with wary step, his eye spoke half his tale, denoting villainy. In hollow murmurs thus he questioned me, was I the prince? I answered to content him, then in his hand he held this paper forth. Take this, says he, this Bethis greets thee with, keep but your word, our plot will meet success. I snatched it with more rashness than discretion, which taught him his mistake. In haste he drew, and aimed his dagger at my breast, but paid his life, a forfeit, for his bold presuming king. O villain! Villain! Vardanes. Here, read this, my lord. I read it, and cold horror froze my blood, and shook me like an egg. King. Ha, what's this? Doubt not Arabia's aid, set me but free, I'll easy pass on the old credulous king, for fair Ivan's father. Thus to Adams, oh! Could I tear these cursed traitors thus? Tears the paper into pieces. Vardanes. Curses avail you nothing, he has power, and may abuse it to your prejudice. King. I am resolved. Vardanes. Though prisoner in his camp, yet, Bethis was attended like a prince, as though he still commanded the Arabians. 'Tis true, when they approached the royal city, he threw him into chains to blind our eyes, a shallow artifice. King. That is a truth. Vardanes. And, yet, he is your son. King. Ah! That indeed. Vardanes. Why, it still heightens his impiety, to rush to empire through his father's blood, and, in return of life, to give him death. King. Oh! I am all on fire, yes I must tear these folds of venom from me. Vardanes. Sure 'twas Lysias that crossed the passage now. King. 'Tis to my wish. I'll in, and give him orders to arrest my traitor son and Bethis. Now Vardanes, indulge thy father in this one request, seize, with some horse, Evanth, and bear her to your command. Oh! I'll own my weakness, I love with fondness mortal never knew, not Jove himself, when he forsook his heaven, and in a brutal shape discracked the god, ere loved like me. Vardanes. I will obey you, sir. C9. Vardanes alone. I'll seize her, but I'll keep her for myself. It were a sin to give her to his age, to twine the blooming garland of the spring around the sapless trunks of withered oaks, the night, methinks, grows ruder than it was. Thus should it be, thus nature should be shocked, and prodigies, affrighting all mankind, foretell the dreadful business I intend. The earth should gape, and swallow cities up, shake from their hardy heights aspiring towers, and level mountains with the vales below. The sun as it should frown in dark eclipse, and light retire to its unclouded heaven, while darkness, bursting from her deep recess, should wrap all nature in eternal night. Ambition, glorious fever of the mind, 'tis that which raises us above mankind. The shining mark which bounteous heaven has gave, from vulgar souls distinguishing the brave. End of the third act. Act fourth. Scene I. A prison. Gutters and frights. Frights. Oh! Fly, my prince, for safety dwells not here, hence let me urge thy flight with eager haste. Last night thy father sighed his soul to bliss, base murthered. Gutters. Murthered? Ye gods! Frights. Alas! 'Tis true. Stabbed in his slumber by a traitor's hand. I scarce can speak it, horror chokes my words. Lysias it was who did the damned deed, urged by the bloody queen, and his cursed rage, because the king, thy sire, in angry mood, once struck him on his foul dishonest cheek. Suspicion gave me fears of this, when first I heard, the prince, Arsaces, was imprisoned, by fell Vardanish wiles. Gutters. Oh! Horror! Horror! Hither I came to share my brother's sorrows, to mingle tears, and give him sigh for sigh. But this is double weight of woe. Frights. 'Tis held as yet a secret from the world. Frighted by hideous dreams I shook off sleep, and as I mossed the garden walks along, through the deep gloom, close in a neighbouring walk, Vardanes with proud Lysias I beheld, still eager in discourse they saw not me, for yet the early dawn had not appeared. I sought a secret stand, where hid from view, I heard stern Lysias hail the Prince Vardanes as Parthia's dreaded lord. "'Tis done," he cried, "'tis done, and Artabanus is no more. The blow he gave me is repaid in blood. Now shall the morn behold two rising suns, Vardanes thou, our better light, shalt bring bright day and joy to every heart." Gutters. Why slept your vengeance, oh! Ye righteous gods? Frights. Then told a tale, so filled with bloody circumstance, of the stammered deed, that stiffened me with horror. Vardanes seemed to blame the hasty act, as rash, and unadvised, by passion urged, which never yields to cool reflection's place. But, being done, resolved it secret, lest the multitude should take it in their wise authority to pry into his death. Arsaces was, by assassination, doomed to fall. Your name was mentioned also, but hurried by my fears away, I left the rest unheard. Gutters. What can be done? Reflection, why wilt thou forsake us, when distress is at our heels? Frights, help me, aid me with thy counsel. Frights. Then stay not here, fly to Barzapharnes, his conquering troops are at a trivial distance. Soon will you reach the camp. He loved your brother, and your father with affection served. Haste your flight, whilst yet I have the city guard, for Lysias I expect takes my command. I to the camp dispatched a trusty slave, before the morn had spread her blushing veil. Away, you'll meet the general on the road, on such a cause as this he'll not delay. Gutters. I thank your love. Scene 2. Frights alone. I'll wait behind, my stay may aid the cause. Dissembling I must learn, necessity shall teach me how to vary my features to the looks of him I serve. I'll thrust myself disguised among the crowd, and fill their ears with murmurs of the deed, whisper all is not well, blow up the sparks of discord, and it soon will flame to rage. Scene 3. Queen and Lysias. Queen. Haste, and show me to the Prince Arsaces, delay not, see the signet of Vardanes. Lysias. Royal Thermusa, why this eagerness? This tumult of the soul? What means this dagger? Ha, I suspect. Queen. Hold, for I'll tell thee, Lysias. 'Tis, oh! I scarce can speak the mighty joy, I shall be greatly blessed in their revenge. 'Tis vengeance on Arsaces, yes, this hand shall urge the shining Panire to his heart, and give him death, yea, give the ruffian death. So shall I smile on his keen agonies. Lysias. Ha, am I robbed of all my hopes of vengeance? Shall I then calmly stand with all my wrongs, and see another bear away revenge? Queen. For what can Lysias ask revenge, to bar his queen of hers? Lysias. Was I not scorned, and spurned, with hearty insolence? Like a base coward refused whate'er I asked, and called a boaster? My honour sullied, with opprobrious words, which can no more its former brightness know, till, with his blood, I washed the stains away. Say, shall I then not seek for glorious vengeance? Queen. And what is this, to the sad mother's griefs, her hope cut off, rayed up with pain and care? Hadst thou e'er supported the loved prattler? Hadst thou like me hung o'er his infancy, wasting in wakeful mood the tedious night, and watched his sickly couch, far moved from rest, waiting his health's return? Ah! Hadst thou known the parent's fondness, rapture, toil and sorrow, the joy his actions gave, and the fond wish of something yet to come, to bless my age, and lead me down with pleasure to the grave, thou wouldst not thus talk lightly of my wrongs. But I delay. Lysias. To thee I then submit. Be sure to wreak a double vengeance on him. If that thou know'st a part in all his body, where pain can most be felt, strike him there, and let him know the utmost height of anguish. It is a joy to think that he shall fall, though 'tis another hand which gives the blow. Scene 4. Arsaces and Bethus. Arsaces. Why should I linger out my joyless days, when length of hope is length of misery? Hope is a cozener, and beguiles our cares, cheats us with empty shows of happiness, swift fleeting joys which mock the faint embrace. We wade through ills pursuing of the meteor, yet are distanced still. Bethus. Ah! Talk not of hope, hope fled when bright Astraea spurned this earth, and sought her seat among the shining gods. Despair, proud tyrant, ravages my breast, and makes all desolation. Arsaces. How can I behold those reverent sorrows, see those cheeks moist with the dew which falls from thy sad eyes, nor imitate distraction's frantic tricks, and chase cold lifeless reason from her throne? I am the fatal cause of all this sorrow, the spring of ills. To know me is unhappiness. And misery, like a hateful plague, pursues my wearied steps, and blasts the springing verdure. Bethus. No. It is I that am the source of all, it is my fortune sinks you to this trouble. Before you showered your gentle pity on me, you shone the pride of this admiring world. Evangel springs from me, whose fatal charms produces all this ruin. Hear me even. If to another love she ever yields, and stains her soul with spotted falsehood's crime, if in expectation tastes of bliss, nor joins Arsaces with it, I will wreak my vengeance on her, so that she shall be a dread example to all future times. Arsaces. Oh! Curse her not, nor threaten her with anger, she is all gentleness, yet firm to truth, and blessed with every pleasing virtue, free from levity, her sex's character. She scorns to chase the turning of the wind, varying from point to point. Bethus. I love her, ye gods! I need not speak the greatness of my love, each look which straining draws my soul to hers denotes unmeasured fondness. But misery, like a fretful peevish child, can scarce tell what it would wish, or aim at. Arsaces. Immortals, hear! Thus do I bow my soul in humble prayer, thou, King of beings, in whose breath is fate, shower on Evan all thy choicest blessings, and bless her with excess of happiness. If yet, there is one bliss reserved in store, and written to my name, oh! Give it her, and give me all her sorrows in return. Bethus. Rise, rise my prince, this goodness o'erwhelms me, she's too unworthy of so great a passion. Arsaces. I know not what it means, I'm not as usual, ill-boding cares, and restless fears oppress me, and horrid dreams disturb, and fright, my slumbers. But yesternight, 'tis dreadful to relate, e'en now I tremble at my waking thoughts, methought, I stood alone upon the shore, and, at my feet, There rolled a sea of blood, high wrought, and amidst the waves, appeared my father, struggling for life. Above him was Vardanes, poised in the air. He seemed to rule the storm, and, now and then, would push my father down, and for a space he'd sink beneath the waves, and then, all gory, rise to open view. His voice in broken accents reached my ear, and bade me save him from the bloody stream. Through the red billows eagerly I rushed, but sudden woke, benumbed with chilling fear. Bethus. Most horrible indeed. But let it pass, 'tis but the offspring of a mind disturbed, for sorrow leaves impressions on the fancy, which show most fearful to us locked in sleep. Arsaces. Thramusa. Ha, what can be her design? She bears this way, and carries in her looks an eagerness importing violence. Retire, for I would meet her rage alone. Scene 5. Arsaces and Queen. Arsaces. What means the proud Thermusa by this visit? Stoops heaven-born pity to a breast like thine. Pity adorns virtuous, but ne'er dwells where hate, revenge, and rage distract the soul. Sure, it is hate that hither urged thy steps, to view misfortune with an eye of triumph. I know thou lovest me not, for I have dared to cross thy purposes, and, bold in censure, spoke of thy actions as they merited. Besides, this hand 'twas slew the cursed Vonones. Queen. And dar'st thou insolent to name Vonones? To heap perdition on thy guilty soul? There needs not this to urge me to revenge, but let me view this wonder of mankind, whose breath can set the bustling world in arms. I see no dreadful terrors in his eye, nor gathers chilly fears around my heart, nor strains my gazing eye with admiration, and, though a woman, I can strike the blow. Arsaces. Why gaze you on me thus? Why hesitate? Am I to die? Queen. Thou art, this dagger shall dissolve thy life, thy fleeting ghost I'll send to wait Vonones in the shades below. Arsaces. And even there I'll triumph over him. Queen. Oh, thou vile homicide! Thy fatal hand has robbed me of all joy. Vonones, to thy manes this proud sacrifice I give. That hand which severed the friendship of thy soul and body, shall never draw again embittering tears from sorrowing mother's eyes. This, with the many tears I have shed, receive. Offers to stab him. Ha, I'd strike. What holds my hand? 'Tis empty pity. Arsaces. Nay, do not mock me, with the show of death, and yet deny the blessing. I have met your taunts with equal taunts, in hopes to urge the blow with swift revenge. But since that fails, I'll woo thee to compliance, teach my tongue persuasion's winning arts, to gain thy soul. I'll praise thy clemency, in dying accents bless thee for this, thy charitable deed. Oh! Do not stand. See, how my bosom heaves to meet the stroke. In pity let me die, 'tis all the happiness I now can know. Queen. How sweet the eloquence of dying men! Hence poets feigned the music of the swan, when death upon her lays his icy hand, she melts away in melancholy strains. Arsaces. Play not thus cruel with my poor request, but take my loving father's thanks, and mine. Queen. Thy father cannot thank me now. Arsaces. He will, believe me, e'en whilst dissolved in ecstasy on fond Ivan's bosom, he will pause, one moment from his joys, to bless the deed. Queen. What means this tumult in my breast? From whence proceeds the sudden change? My heart beats high, and soft compassion makes me less than woman. I'll search no more for what I fear to know. Arsaces. Why drops the dagger from thy trembling hand? Oh! Yet be kind. Queen. No, now I'd have thee live, since it is happiness to die, 'tis pain that I would give thee, thus I bid thee live. Yes, I would have thee a whole age a-dying, and smile to see thy lingering agonies. All day I'd watch thee, mark each heightened pang, while springing joy should swell my panting bosom. This I would have, but should this dagger give thy soul the liberty it fondly wishes, 'twould soar aloft, and mock my faint revenge. Arsaces. This mildness shows most foul, thy anger lovely. Think that 'twas I who blasted thy fond hope, Vonones now lies numbered with the dead, and all your joys are buried in his grave. My hand untimely plucked the precious flower, before its shining beauties were displayed. Queen. O woman! Woman! Where's thy resolution? Where's thy revenge? Where's all thy hopes of vengeance? Give into the winds, ha, is it pity? No, I fear it wears another softer name. I'll think no more, but rush to my revenge, in spite of foolish fear, or woman's softness. Be steady now my soul to thy resolves. Yes, thou shalt die, thus, on thy breast, I write thy instant doom, ha, ye gods! Queen starts, as, in great fright, at hearing something. Arsaces. Why this pause? Why dost thou idly stand like a mock at vengeance, with harmless terrors threatening on thy brow, with lifted arm, yet canst not strike the blow? Queen. It surely was the echo to my fears, the whistling wind, perhaps, which mimicked voice. But thrice methought it loudly cried, forbear. Imagination hence, I'll heed thee not. Ghost of Artabanus rises. Save me, oh! Save me, ye eternal powers! See! See, it comes, surrounded with dread terrors, hence, hence! Nor blast me with that horrid sight, throw off that shape, and search th infernal rounds for horrid forms, there's none can shock like thine. Ghost. No. I will ever wear this form, thus e'er appear before thee. Glare upon thee thus, till desperation, joined to thy damned crime, shall wind thee to the utmost height of frenzy. In vain you grasp the dagger in your hand, in vain you dress your brows in angry frowns, in vain you raise your threatening arm in air, secure, Arsaces triumphs o'er your rage. Guarded by fate, from thy accursed revenge, thou canst not touch his life. The gods have given a softness to thy more than savage soul before unknown, to aid their grand designs. Fate yet is laboring with some great event, but what must follow I'm forbid to broach. Think, think of me, I sink to rise again, to play in blood before thy aching sight, and shock thy guilty soul with hell-born horrors. Think, think of Artabanus. And despair sinks. Queen. Think of thee, and despair? Yes, I'll despair, yet stay, oh! Stay, thou messenger of fate. Tell me, ha, 'tis gone, and left me wretched. Arsaces. Your eyes seem fixed upon some dreadful object, horror and anguish clothe your whitened face, and your frame shakes with terror. I hear you speak as seeming earnest in discourse, yet hear no second voice. Queen. What? Say'st thou nothing? Arsaces. Nothing. Queen. Nor heard? Arsaces. Nor heard. Queen. Amazing spectacle! Cold moistening dews distill from every pore, I tremble like to palsied age, ye gods! Would I could leave this loath detested being! Oh! All my brain's on fire, I rave! I rave! Ghost rises again! Ha! It comes again, see, it glides along, see, see, what streams of blood flow from its wounds! A crimson torrent, shield me, oh! Shield me, heaven! Arsaces. Great, and righteous gods! Queen. Ah! Frown not on me, why dost thou shake thy horrid locks at me? Can I give immortality? 'Tis gone, ghost sinks. It flies me, see, ah! Stop it, haste! Arsaces. Oh, piteous sight! Queen. Hist! Prithee, hist! O death! I'm all on fire, now freezing bolts of ice dart through my breast, oh! Burst ye cords of life, ha! Who are ye? Why do ye stare upon me? Oh! Defend me, from these bickering furies! Arsaces. Alas! Her sense is lost, distressful queen! Queen! Help me, thou king of gods! Oh! Help me! Help! See! They enburn me round, Vonones too, the foremost leading on the dreadful troop, but there, Vardanes beckons me to shun their hellish rage. I come, I come! Ah! They pursue me, with the scourge of fire. Runs out distracted. Scene 6. Arsaces alone. Oh! Horror! On the ground she breathless lies, silent, in death's cold sleep. The wall besmeared with brains and gore, the marks of her despair. O guilt! How dreadful dost thou ever show! How lovely are the charms of innocence! How beauteous though in sorrows and distress! Ha! What noise! Clashing of swords. Scene 7. Arsaces, Barzapharnes and Goddesses. Barzapharnes. At length we fork at our entrance, O my loved prince. To see thee thus, indeed, melts in me to a woman's softness. See my eyes o'erflow, are these the ornaments for royal hands? Rude manacles. O shameful! Is this thy room of state, this gloomy goal without attendance, and thy bed the pavement? But, ah! How different was our parting last! When flushed with victory, reeking from the slaughter, you saw Arabia's sons scour o'er the plain in shameful flight, before your conquering sword. Then shone you like the god of battle. Arsaces. Welcome! Welcome, my loyal friends. Barzapharnes. My good old soldier, to my bosom thus. Goddesses, my loved brother. Now I'm happy. But, say, my soldier, why these threatening arms? Why am I thus released by force? My father, I should have said the king, had he relented, he'd not have us this method to enlarge me. Alas! I fear, too forward in your love, you'll brand me with the rebel's hated name. Barzapharnes. I am by nature blunt, the soldier's manner unaccustomed to the soft arts practised at courts. Nor can I move the passions, or disguise the sorrowing tale to mitigate the smart. Then seek it not, I would sound the alarm, loud as the trumpet's clangor, in your ears. Nor when I hail you, as our Parthia's king, tell you full revenged your father's murder. Arsaces. Murder? Good heaven! Barzapharnes. The tale requires some time, and opportunity must not be lost. Your traitor brother, who usurps your rights, must, ere his faction gathers to a head, have from his brows his new-born honours torn. Arsaces. What, dost thou say, murdered by Vardanes? Impious parasite! Detested villain! Give me a sword, and onward to the charge. Stop gushing tears, for I will weep in blood, and sorrow with the groans of dying men. Revenge! Revenge! Oh! All my soul's on fire. Goddesses. 'Twas not Vardanes struck the fatal blow, though, great in power usurped, he dares support the actor, vengeful Lysias. To his breast he clasps, with grateful joy, the bloody villain, who soon meant, with ruffian wiles, to cut you from the earth, and also me. Arsaces. Just heathens, but, gentle brother, how didst thou elude the vigilant, suspicious, tyrant's craft? Goddesses. Frates, by an accident, obtained the knowledge of the deed, and warned by him I bent my flight toward the camp, to seek protection and revenge. But scarce I'd left the city when I overtook the general Barzapharnes. Ere the sun rose I gained th intelligence. The soldiers, when they heard the dreadful tale, first stood aghast, and motionless with horror. Then suddenly, inspurred with noble rage, tore up their ensigns, calling on their leaders to march them to the city instantly. I, with some trusty few, with speed came forward, to raise our friends within, and gain your freedom. Nor hazard longer, by delays, your safety. Already faithful Frates has gained a numerous party of the citizens. With these we mean to attack the royal palace, crush the bold tyrant with surprise, while sunk in false security, and vengeance wreak, ere that he thinks the impious crime be known. Arsaces. O, parent being, ruler of yon heaven, who bade creation spring to order, hear me. Whatever sins are laid upon my soul, now let them not prove heavy on this day, to sink my arm, or violate my cause. The sacred rights of kings, my country's wrongs, the punishment of fierce impiety, and a loved father's death, call forth my sword now on. I feel all calm within my breast, and every busy doubt is hushed to rest. Smile heaven propitious on my virtuous cause, nor aid the wretch who dares disdain your laws. End of the fourth act. Act V. Scene I. The palace. The curtain rises, slowly, to soft music, and discovers Ivan sleeping on a sofa. After the music ceases, Vardanes enters. Vardanes, now shining empire standing at the goal, beckons me forward to increase my speed. But, yet, Arsaces lives, bane to my hopes. Lysias I'll urge to ease me of his life, then give the villain up to punishment. The show of justice gains the changeling crowd. Besides, I ne'er will harbour in my bosom such serpents, ever ready with their stings. But now 1 hour for love and fair Ivan, hence with ambition's cares. See, where reclined, in slumbers all her sorrows are dismissed. Sleep seems to heighten every beauteous feature, and adds peculiar softness to each grace. She weeps, in dreams some lively sorrow pains her. I'll take one kiss, oh! what a balmy sweetness! Give me another, and another still, for ever thus I'd dwell upon her lips. Be still my heart, and calm unruly transports. Wake her, with music, from this mimic death. Music sounds. Song. Tell me, Phyllis, tell me why you appear so wondrous coy, when that glow, and sparkling eye, speak you want to taste the joy. Prithee, give this fooling o'er, nor torment your lover more. While youth is warm within our veins, and nature tempts us to be gay, give to pleasure loose the reins, love and youth fly swift away. Youth and pleasure should be spent, age will come, we'll then repent. Event waking. I come, ye lovely shades, ha, am I here? Still in the tyrant's palace? Ye bright powers! Are all my blessings then but visionary? Methought I was arrived on that blessed shore where happy souls for ever dwell, crowned with immortal bliss. Arsaces led me through the flowery groves, while all around me gleamed thousand and thousand shades, who welcomed me with pleasing songs of joy. Vardanes, ha Vardanes! Why beams the angry lightning of thine eye against thy sighing slave? Is love a crime? Oh! if to dote, with such excess of passion as rises into mad extravagance is criminal, I then am so, indeed. Ivan. Away! Vile man! Vardanes! If to pursue the air with all the humblest offices of love, if ne'er to know one single thought that does not bear thy bright idea, merits scorn. Ivan. Hence from my sight, nor let me, thus, pollute mine eyes, with looking on a wretch like thee, thou cause of all my ills. I sicken at thy loathsome presence. Vardanes. 'Tis not always thus, nor dost thou ever meet the sounds of love with rage and fierce disdain. Arsaces, soon, could smooth thy brow, and melt thy icy breast. Ivan. Ha, does it gall thee? Yes, he could, he could. Oh! when he speaks, such sweetness dwells upon his accents, all my soul dissolves to love, and warm desire. Such truth and beauty joined. His looks are soft and kind, such gentleness such virtue swells his bosom. In his eye sits majesty, commanding every heart straight as a pine, the pride of all the grove, more blooming than the spring, and sweeter far, than asphodels or roses' infant sweets. Oh! I could dwell forever on his praise, yet think eternity was scarce enough to tell the mighty theme. Here in my breast his image dwells, but one dear thought of him, when fancy paints his person to my eye, as he was wont in tenderness dissolved, sighing his vows, or kneeling at my feet, wipes off all memory of my wretchedness. Vardanes. I know this bravery is affected, yet it gives me joy, to think my rival only can in imagination taste thy beauties. Let him, 'twill ease him in his solitude, and gild the horrors of his prison house, till death shall. Ivan. Ha, what was that? Till death, ye gods! Ah, now I feel distress's torturing pang. Thou canst not, villain, darst not think his death, O misery! Vardanes. Naught but your kindness saves him, yet bless me, with your love, and he is safe. But the same frown which kills my growing hopes, gives him to death. Ivan. O horror, I could die 10,000 times to save the loved Arsaces. Teach me the means, ye powers, how to save him, then lead me to whatever is my fate. Vardanes. Not only shall he die, but to thy view I'll bring the scene. Those eyes that take delight in cruelty, shall have enough of death. E'en here, before thy sight, he shall expire, not sudden, but by lingering torments. All that mischief can invent shall be practised to give him pain. To lengthen out his woe I'll search around the realm for skilful men, to find new tortures. Ivan. Oh! Rack not thus my soul. Vardanes. The sex o'erflows with various humours, he who catches not their smiles the very moment, will lose the blessing. I'll improve the softness. Aside to her. Heaven never made thy beauties to destroy, they were to bless, and not to blast mankind. Pity should dwell within thy lovely breast, that sacred temple ne'er was formed for hate a habitation, but a residence for love and gaiety. Ivan. Oh! Heavens! Vardanes! That sigh, proclaims your kind consent to save Arsaces. Laying hold of her. Ivan. Ha! Villain, off, unhand me, hence. Vardanes. In vain is opportunity to those, who spend an idle courtship on the fair, they well deserve their fate, if they're disdained. Her charms to rush upon, and conquer opposition, gains the fair one's praise. An active lover suits, who lies aside the coxcomb's empty wine, and forces her to bliss. Ivan. Ah! Hear me, thus kneeling, with my tears, I do implore thee, think on my innocence, nor force a joy which will ever fill thy soul with anguish. Seek not to load my ills with infamy, let me not be a mark for bitter scorn, to bear proud virtue's taunts and mocking jeers, and like a flower, of all its sweetness robbed, be trod to earth, neglected and disdained, and spurned by every vulgar saucy foot. Vardanes. Speak, speak forever, music's in thy voice, still attentive will I listen to thee, be hushed as night, charmed with the magic sound. Ivan. Oh! Teach me, heaven, soft-moving eloquence, to bend his stubborn soul to gentleness. Where is thy virtue? Where thy princely lustre? Ah! Wilt thou meanly stoop to do a wrong, and stain thy honour with so foul a blood? Thou who shouldst be a guard to innocence. Leave force to brutes, for pleasure is not found where still the soul's averse. Horror and guilt, distraction, desperation chase her hence. Some happier gentle fair one you may find, whose yielding heart may bend to meet your flame, in mutual love soft joys alone are found. When souls are drawn by secret sympathy, and virtue does on virtue smile. Vardanes. No more, her heavenly tongue will charm me from th intent, hence coward softness, force shall make me blessed. Ivan. Assist me, ye blessed powers. Oh! Strike, ye gods! Strike me, with thunder dead, this moment, ere I suffer violation. Vardanes. 'Tis in vain, the idle praters by fancied grief put up, are blown by active winds regardless by, nor ever reach the havens. Scene 2. Vardanes, Ivan and Lysias. Lysias. Arm, my lord. Vardanes. Damnation! Why this interruption now? Lysias. Oh! Arm! My noble prince, the foes upon us. Arsaces, by Barzapharnes released, joined with the citizens, assaults the palace, and swears revenge for our Tabarnouche death. Vardanes. Ha! What? Revenge for our Tabarnouche death? 'Tis the curse of princes that their counsels, which should be kept like holy mysteries, can never rest in silent secrecy. Fond of employ, some cursed tattling tongue will still divulge them. Lysias. Sure some fiend from hell, in mischief eminent, to cross our views, has given th intelligence, for man could not. Ivan. Oh! Ever blessed event! All gracious heaven! This beam of joy revives me. Scene 3. Vardanes, Ivan, Lysias, to them, an officer. Officer. Haste, my lord, or all will soon be lost. Though thrice repulsed by your ear faithful guards, they still return with devil fury. Vardanes. Hence, Then, idle love, come forth, my trusty sword, cursed misfortune. Had I but one short hour, without reluctance, I'd meet them, though they bribed the powers of hell, to place their furies in the van, yea, rush to meet this dreadful brother midst the war, haste to the combat, now a crown or death, the wretch who dares to give an inch of ground till I retire, shall meet the death he shunned. Away, away. Delays are dangerous now. Scene 4. Ivan alone. Now heathen be partial to our secesh cause, nor leave to get a chance when virtue strives. Let victory sit on his warlike helm, for justice draws his sword, be thou his aid, and let the opposer's arm sink with the weight of his most impious crimes. Be still my heart, for all that thou canst aid him with his prayer. Oh! that I had the strength of thousands in me! Or that my voice could wake the sons of men to join, and crush the tyrant. Scene 5. Ivan and Cleon. Ivan. My Cleon, welcome thou partner of my joys and sorrows. Cleon. Oh! yonder terror triumphs uncontrolled, and glutton death seems never satisfied. Each soft sensation lost in thoughtless rage, and breast to breast, opposite in furious war, the fiery chiefs receive the vengeful steel. O'er lifeless heaps of men the soldiers climb still eager for the combat, while the ground made slippery by the gushing streams of gore is treacherous to their feet. Oh! horrid sight! Too much for me to stand, my life was chilled, as from the turret I beheld the fight, it forked me to retire. Ivan. What of Arsaces? Cleon. I saw him active in the battle, now, like lightning, piercing through the thickest foe, then scorning to disgrace his sword in low plebeian blood, loud for Vardanes cowled, to meet him singly, and decide the war. Ivan. Save him, ye gods! Oh! all my soul is fear. Fly, fly Cleon, to the tower again, see how fate turns the balance. And pursue Arsaces with thine eye. Mark every blow, observe if some bold villain dares to urge his sword presumptuous at my hero's breast. Haste, my Cleon, haste, to ease my fears. Scene 6. Ivan alone. Ah! what a cruel torment is suspense! My anxious soul is torn twixt love and fear, scarce can I please me with one fancied bliss which kind imagination forms, but reason, proud, surly reason, snatches the vain joy, and gives me up again to sad distress. Yet I can die, and should Arsaces fall this fatal draught shall ease me of my sorrows. Scene 7. Cleon alone. Oh! horror! 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 Cruel gods! I saw him fall, I did, pierced through with wounds, cursed! Cursed Vardanes! Hear the general cry, which burst, as though all nature had dissolved. Hark! how they shout! This noise seems coming this way. Scene 8. Arsaces, Godfrey's, Barzapharnes and officers, with Vardanes and Lysias, prisoners. Arsaces. Thanks to the ruling powers who blessed our arms, prepare the sacrifices to the gods, and grateful songs of tributary praise. Godfrey's, fly, my brother, find Ivan, and bring the lovely mourner to my arms. Godfrey's. Yes, I'll obey you, with a willing speed. Exit Godfrey's. Arsaces. Thou, Lysias, from yon tower's aspiring height be hurled to death, thy impious hands are stained with royal blood, let the traitor's body be given to hungry dogs. Lysias. Welcome, grim death! I've fed thy maw with kings, and lack no more revenge. Now, do thy duty, officer. Officer. Yea, and would lead all traitors gladly thus, the boon of their deserts. Scene 9. Arsaces, Vardanes, Barzapharnes. Arsaces. But for Vardanes, the brother's name forgot. Vardanes. You need no more, I know the rest. Ah! Death is near, my wounds permit me not to live, my breath grows short, cursed be fraudish arm which stopped my sword, ere it had reached thy proud exulting heart. But the wretch paid dear for his presuming. A just reward. Arsaces. He sinks, yet bear him up. Vardanes. Cursed be the multitude which o'erpowered me, and beat me to the ground, covered with wounds, but, oh, 'tis done. My ebbing life is done, I feel death's hand upon me, yet, I die just as I wish, and daring for a crown, life without rule is my disdain. I scorn to swell a hardy brother's sneaking train, to wait upon his ear with flattering tales, and court his smiles. Come, Death, in thy cold arms, let me forget ambition's mighty toil, and shun the triumphs of a hated brother. Oh, bear me off, let not his eyes enjoy my agonies, my sight grows dim with death. They bear him off. Scene the last. Arsaces, Godfrey, Barzaphrens, and Ivan supported. Ivan. Lead me, oh! Lead me, to my loved Arsaces. Where is he? Arsaces. Ha! What's this? Just heathens, my fears. Ivan. Arsaces, oh! Thus see I Arsaelid in thy arms, I die without a pang. Arsaces. Ha! Die? Why stare ye, ye lifeless ghosts? Have none of ye a tongue to tell me I'm undone? Godfrey. Soon, my brother, too soon, you'll know it by the sad effects. And if my grief will yet permit my tongue to do its office, thou shalt hear the tale. Cleon, from the turret, viewed the battle, and on Frates fixed her erring sight, thy brave unhappy friend she took for thee, by his garb deceived, which like to thine he wore. Still with her eye she followed him, where'er he pierced the foe, and to Vardanish's sword she saw him fall a hapless victim, then, in agonies of grief, flew to Ivan, and told the dreadful tale, the fatal bowl I saw. Arsaces. Be dumb, nor ever give again fear to the heart, with thy ill-boding voice. Ivan. Here, I'll rest, till death, on thy loved bosom, here let me sigh my, oh! The poison works. Arsaces. Oh! Horror! Ivan. Cease, the sorrow pains me more than all the ringing agonies of death, the dreadful parting of the soul from, this, its wedded clay. Ah! There, that pang shot through my throbbing heart. Arsaces. Save her, ye gods! Oh! Save her! And I will bribe you with clouds of incense. Such numerous sacrifices, that your altar shall even sink beneath the mighty load. Ivan. When I am dead, dissolved to native dust, yet let me live in thy dear memory, one tear will not be much to give. Ivan. Arsaces. My eyes shall e'er to running fountains be, and wet thy urn with overflowing tears, joy ne'er again within my breast shall find a residence. Oh! Speak, once more. Ivan. Life's just out, my father, oh! Protect his honored age, and give him shelter from the storms of fate, he's long been fortune's sport, support me. Ah! I can no more, my glass is spent, farewell, forever. Arsaces. Oh! Dies. Arsaces. Stay, oh! Stay, or take me with thee, dead. She's cold and dead. Her eyes are clouded, and all my joys are flown. Now burst ye elements, from your restraint, let order cease, and chaos be again. Break. Break, tough heart. Oh! Torture, life dissolve, why stand ye idle? Have I not one friend to kindly free me from this pain? One blow, one friendly blow would give me ease. Barzaphrens. The gods forfend. Pardon me, royal sir, if I dare, seemingly disloyal, seize your sword, despair may urge you far. Arsaces. Ha! Traitors! Rebels! Hoary reverend villain! What, disarm me? Give me my sword. What, stand ye by, and see your prince insulted? Are ye rebels all? Barzaphrens. Be calm, my gracious lord. Godfrey. Oh! My loved brother. Arsaces. Godfrey too. All conspired against me? Still, are ye all resolved that I must live, and feel the momentary pangs of death? Ha! This shall make a passage for my soul. Snatches Barzaphrens' sword. Out, out vile cares, from your distressed abode stabs himself. Barzaphrens. Oh! Ye eternal gods! Godfrey. Distraction. Heavens! I shall run mad. Arsaces! Ah! 'Tis in vain to grieve, the steel has done its part, and I'm at rest. Goddesses, wear my crown, and be thou blessed, cherish, Barzapharnes, my trusty chief, I faint, oh! Lay me by Ivan's side, still wedded in our deaths, Bethus. Barzapharnes. Despair, my lord, has broke his heart, I saw him stretched, along the flinty pavement, in his jail, cold, lifeless. Arsaces. He's happy then, had he heard this tale, he'd, ah! Ivan chides my soul, for lingering here so long, another pang and all the world, adieu, oh! Adieu. Dies. Goddesses. Oh! Fix me, heathen, immovable, a statue, and free me from o'erwhelming tides of grief. Barzapharnes. Oh! My loved prince, I soon shall follow thee. Thy laurel glories, whither are they fled? Would I had died before this fatal day! Triumphant garlands pride my soul no more, no more the lofty voice of war can charm, and why then am I here? Thus then offers to stab himself. Goddesses. Ah! Hold, nor rashly urge the blow, think of me, and live, my heart is wrung with streaming anguish, tore with the smarting pangs of woe, yet, will I dare to live, and stem misfortune's billows. Live then, and be the guardian of my youth, and lead me on through virtue's rugged path. Barzapharnes. Oh, glorious youth, thy words have roused the drooping genius of my soul. Thus, let me clasp thee, in my aged arms. Yes, I will live, to support thee in thy kingly rights, and when thou art firmly fixed, my tasks performed, my honorable task, then I'll retire, petition gracious heaven to bless my work, and in the silent grave forget my cares. Goddesses. Now, to the temple, let us onward move, and strive to appease the angry powers above. Fate yet may have some ills reserved in store, continued curses, to torment us more. Though, in their district, monarchs rule alone, Jove sways the mighty monarch on his throne, nor can the shining honors which they wear, purchase one joy, or save them from one care. Finis. Footnotes. 5. The Tigress. Transcriber's notes. Page 21, Thomas Godfrey's date of birth corrected from 1763 to 1736. Page 78, Abhartment as in original. Page 93, this gloomy goal as in original. Should perhaps be gloomy jail. www.english-thebest.ru